get this going. How's everybody doing this morning? It's been a pretty busy week for us, but how are you guys?
Awesome.
Woo!
Awesome! Yay!
Woo! They're our presenters, of course they're going to use that. Well, thank you guys for being on time, because, you know, there's still a lot of people that aren't here yet who paid to be here, which is, you know, funny. So, oh well. So, as much as we like to get started on time, you know, that's how we work, right? Always polite time on our schedule, and there was no traffic this morning, so there's no excuses. Because the reason why I'm saying that is because for those who are here, you guys are going to be able to get as much information as possible out of this workshop. Now, who here knows what this workshop is about? Just raise your hand. Good. I just want to make sure. Those who don't know, you are surrounded by a community of real estate investors and entrepreneurs who not only go out there and do these real estate deals, fix and flips, buy and holds, short-term rentals, and you know whatever else that's available for us, but we also get to learn how to run a business basically from scratch. Now, I remember when I first started using this program 4 years ago. Now we're 16 deals in now, 16 real estate deals in now, and for those years we learned how to create foundational structures for our business. And one of the biggest and most awesome foundational structures that I've ever run into is what you guys are going to learn about in depth today. Now, we have some really amazing people coming in from Arizona to teach this to you guys. It's a treat to have these two individuals come out to Hawaii, suffer through the very hot sun over here. They're from Arizona, guys, so so you know they're enjoying their stay here so far. They're sampling the local cuisine, sort of wihimui, for the first time ever. Iso peanuts. They like iso peanuts, just so you know.
Mahi mahi. Oh yeah.
And it's funny too because you know been trying to get you know shellfish in Joey's face, but he's allergic to shellfish, unfortunately. We'll have to think about that when we go to dinner tonight. But anyway, so we started working on the subject today. Me and my wife, and you guys met her out there. Her name is Jenny, and you know we've gotten through a certain amount of phases. Now it takes time, but the most important thing is that you guys lay your foundation first. Because if you try and build a structure on a shoddy foundation, what usually happens to those kinds of buildings? Right? They'll just crumble. A lot of people go through these real estate investing hype activities and realize, you know what, we forgot to build a foundation. And so therefore I'm building a business and I'm trying to learn how to do all this stuff on the side or whatever business you decide to do. And if you don't have those foundations set, like most people don't, then you're gonna miss out on the most amazing things that you as a business owner should be able to take advantage of. You should be able to take and grasp the amazing ability that the government, the community, the banks give you to grow and thrive. Okay? Don't be a victim to it, learn about it, and build from there. Now, today is an all-day event, meaning that we are going to have small breaks here and there, okay? But the majority of the time it's going to be download and activity and you know, getting a really good idea on how to build your business credit, okay? We're also going to be entailing a lot of what we do as real estate investors in the Renatus Education Service. So just keep that in mind that you will be learning about that as well if you have not heard about it before. It is worth your time to understand that education comes first. I am not, I can't stand it when people want to put the carriage before the horse and try and run with no foundation, no education, and relinquishing all the responsibility on other people. Who was at the meeting last night? Raise your hand. So you saw the stories of a person who did the wrong steps, and you realize how much she has to lose now, right? The beautiful thing about real estate investing is, well, you know what? sky's the limit on the income that you make. When you own a business, sky's the limit on the income you make. But there's no bottom either. So it's a good idea to get educated first, and that's why I'm so grateful that you guys are here today and going to be taking in all the amazing information that our two awesome presenters are going to come in. So I want to introduce you guys to two very successful real estate investors out in Tucson, Arizona.
Just one.
Well, just one, okay.
There's only one successful.
One successful.
Nah, just kidding.
I'm going to start with one. A very successful real estate investor and entrepreneur. He's been working on building business credit for years, but then he's been helping others very successfully in this last year to really see what a business owner is really capable of. A lot of people tend to start a business and then they start getting tied. They get tied down, and you know what's funny? It's tied down by themselves because they're not learning how to leverage what's available out there for them. And so Joey, the expert at this, Mr. Joseph Smith from Arizona, Tucson, Arizona, I want you to come down and say hi to the amazing family we have here. So everybody.
Ready?
What? No. Oh, this one. Oh, this one.
Hey, thank you. Mahalo. All right. I'm from a company called Wise Guys and Ties. I'm not wearing any tie. I was told that people who show up in business suits and ties are kind of shady. So I came in a few days early, and I've totally been baptized into the culture of Hawaii. See, I've got a shirt. Thank you so much. Hey, guys, we are so excited to be here. So excited to talk to your group about business credit. Now, who here has heard of Renatus? Show of hands. Okay, great. Who here has not heard of Renatus? Show of hands. Okay, great. So, what's that? Okay. Well, you're going to hear a lot about Renatus. It is a real estate investing and entrepreneurial education. It teaches basically business finance as well as how to run a successful real estate investing business. What we are going to present to you today is just a sample of one of the over 60 classes that's provided here. But we're going to focus a lot on business credit, but we're going to talk about a lot of advanced financial strategies. Self-directed IRAs, anybody heard of those? Yeah, we're going to be talking a lot about that. Velocity banking or sweep strategies, anybody here heard of that? Permanent insurance policies. Okay, guys, let's get you guys going. You guys, I know you can't see this, but today we're going to cover a lot. 72257. Take a picture of that if you like, and then you can just download. It's like a 6-page book. Covers pretty much the overview of the notes that we're going to cover today. Also, what happens when you text credit, it'll ask you to put your name and your email, your phone number, and then you get a download. You're going to go into my weekly email list where you'll get a weekly email about business finance, business credit, just keeping you up to date on what's happening in the market. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. All right. So I got a little bit ahead of myself, but I love business credit. Anybody who here has business credit? Anybody already have? All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, we have some established business credit folks. This is good stuff. Okay, great. So, hey, we got a little special treat for you guys here. You guys have been so good to us. We went out and just bought an Apple iPad Air 2. And so for those who text credit to 602-497-2257, you'll be entered into a drawing today for your very own Apple iPad Air 2. So somebody will be leaving with that. But you have to be here to claim it. So none of you try and sneak out early, okay? Because you won't be able to get it. But yeah, hey, how cool is that? Just for coming, you can get an Apple iPad Air 2. Those are cool things. All right, so be sure to get the information that you need. Now let's move on. Who am I? Who's this guy? That's me when I played high school football, right? That guy is having a pretty bad day right there. And then I went on, I was recruited to play that it's been a little bit more challenging in recent years to beat the Broncos. I'd like to say that all that fame is because of me, but no. No, but we were the team that you scheduled for the homecoming game, right? What's that mean? It's like we were the easy win. So that we would show up, and that would be pretty challenging. This was my senior year. This was my football team. There I am, number 57. But I learned a lot about life from sports. Who here has been involved in some kind of sports or athletics, right, of some kind? Are there not principles that we learn, like teamwork, hard work ethic, hustle, right, that applies to life, to business? Would you agree with that? Absolutely. Okay, so there's so much that I learned in this time in my life. I had a lot of support from family. Mom would come out and see me. Hi, Mom. This was the one time where Boise State, remember we were a small little college back at that time, we beat the University of Utah. It was the first time ever that Boise State beat a nationally ranked opponent. They were like ranked 20th in the nation. And we were we were scheduled for the homecoming game, and we won in the last final seconds of the game. It was pretty awesome. And then we ran over to our 10 fans that were in the stands, and we sang our fight song. And but all good things must come to an end or change for the worse. It just really depends on your point of view, right? So what do? I took this large frame of mind and I went into law enforcement. I was a detention officer, was also a correctional officer. What was my job? If you ever got arrested and you went to jail, I was the person that took away all of your belongings and gave you your orange jumpsuit. So definitely nobody was pleased to see me. And then, but that was a really depressing job, and I didn't really like it very much, and very physically demanding. So I used my college education and went and got a job for the Department of Economic Security. Hey, would you believe that the employees of the Department of Economic Security don't really have a lot of economic security? I was a social worker. I was a CPS case manager. What does that mean? It means if somebody was abusing their child, I would show up and remove the child. So again, nobody wanted to see me. It was a very depressing job. But I'm telling you, I worked all the way. I worked really hard up to the top of the pay scale in the state of Arizona. And my take-home pay was $31,000 a year. I'm married, 4 kids. And that's, well, at least in Arizona, that's not a lot to get by on, okay? Out here in Hawaii, that would be what, poverty? But yeah, and that's top of the pay. I was top of the pay scale, right? Teachers were paid more than social workers. That's how, we envy what teachers make, and everyone knows teachers don't make anything. But I tell you, things were really difficult in that time because anybody here ever live paycheck to paycheck? Anybody here have, so we have $31,000 a year coming in, but we see like $40,000 in expenses go out in the same year? Like, how did that happen? Man, that's pretty rough stuff. So, I have to tell you, my personal finances, I'm going to be real with you. I'm going back in time. We're going to go back like 10, 12 years ago. My finances were like, have you ever seen those car accidents in slow motion? You're like, oh, but you can't take your eyes off. Oh, right? That's my finances, right? Car accident in slow motion, careening over the financial cliff into an explosion. Right? I went through 2008. I went through 2 foreclosures that led to a bankruptcy. Oh man, anybody else experience any rough patch during that 2008 period of time? Yeah, okay, so 2008, not a great year. But hey, man, I went through 2 foreclosures, couldn't have been that bad, right? How do you go through 2 foreclosures in 1 year, right? Because I thought I was being pretty cool, I co-signed for my mom's house, right? No, because both of us lost our houses, so I got 2 foreclosures on the record. Great. So, this tale of woe. Yeah, I just wanted to give you my credentials so that you guys felt some confidence about learning business credit from a financial expert. Like, why are we listening to this guy? You want to know something? It's the very reason that I went through 2 foreclosures and a bankruptcy is why you should listen to me, because if I ever wanted to own a house again or start a business or make any kind of money, do you think anybody wanted to lend me anything? Anybody want to touch me with a 10-foot pole? No, I had to throw a sack around me and walk around the city saying, unclean, unclean. Nobody would work. I mean, Richie brought up a good point last night. I had a government job, right? And when you're going through foreclosure into bankruptcy, any government worker, whether you're state or federal, your job is on the line if you go through these economic hard times. So I was sitting there like, oh my goodness. I was just watching, like I said, the car accident in slow motion. I see it all happening. It's all coming to, and then I'm gonna lose my job. So what do? What do you do when that happens? Well, you become a real estate investor, obviously, right? It's a no-brainer. No. Actually, I didn't know what to do. I'm a man of faith and I'm praying to God. God, I feel like I'm doing everything right, but everything's going wrong. I mean, I was doing everything right. I went to college. I got good grades. I got a degree. I got a job. I worked to the top of the pay scale. And yet I'm like over $250,000 in debt, making $31,000 a year. What happened? Right, I was living the American dream, you know. I got the degree, get the job, we got the house, and we got the car, and then we got the 4 kids that came along with it. And nobody told me that along the way it comes with over $250,000 of debt. And put that in Hawaii terms. That comes with over $550,000 of debt. Right? So I'm like, what am I going to do? I did everything I was told to do. I did it all the right way, and here I am failing. It was around that time I came across some people who were like, hey, have you ever thought about real estate investing? No. I mean, there's nothing in my experience. In fact, the only thing I ever knew about real estate was you sign a big stack of piece of papers that's like the size as thick as a dictionary, right? And then, of course, 5 years later, you lose it all to foreclosure. That's my experience with real estate. Oh man. So, what happened? Well, I met in a group just like this, but over in Arizona, of people who were really excited in doing real estate. And I mean, it was kind of unreal. It felt kind of like a cult almost. I'm sorry, but it's like everybody hugged and they loved each other and they were supporting and they were all doing real estate together. I was like, okay, no, that's good. That's cool, you know. So I kind of hung around on the periphery for a while, just kind of checking it out. And of course, I didn't do anything with it. I mean, I had dreams, but you know, I didn't take any action on it. And then I watched some people get started, but I didn't do anything because you know I was enjoying the car accident in slow motion, heading over the financial cliff. And then it was like, wait a minute, I got to do something now. I put it off to the last minute. Who here has ever been through foreclosure and you put it off to the last minute? You're like, we got to do something now, right? I'm in that camp. I was that guy, right, that put it off to the last minute. And so I come back and I see all those people who had started like a year and a half ago, all in their first year of making money, and like standing up in front of the group like, here's my check. I was like, I mean, I could have started a year and a half ago and be where that guy is at. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. And then somebody said that this whole thing costs money. I was like, wait a minute, it costs money? You've been talking me into this, and then I gotta pay money? Okay. Well, what do I got? I got like $37 in the bank, right? But what can you do with that? Well, turns out that money wasn't the only form of currency that's out there. And then I learned all about leverage. We're gonna talk a lot about that today. But the point is, I got started. I committed. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I said, I'm going to do it. And so what happened? Well, in about 2 weeks period of time, I found the money. It wasn't mine, but I found the money to get started in this. And then I just went for it. I went, well, what do I have to lose? I'm going to go into bankruptcy and lose my job, or I'm going to figure out a way to, feed my family. And so that's what's great. This community has been awesome. I can't say that everybody would have the same results that I've had, but in that time, over the last 4 years, I've worked with this community, made $160,000 learning just marketing techniques, really. Great opportunities, marketing. And then in real estate, being a part of forming companies and partnerships and being a part of 18 different deals where I had 25% of the total stake in the profits of those deals. That changed my life. I went from making $31,000 a year to my average over the last 4 years has been making $99,000 a year, 98, 99 right in there. Is that good or good? Yeah. Well, it didn't happen because the banks lent me any money. And it didn't happen because mom and dad gave me any money. No, it certainly wasn't mom and dad that gave me money. So, what do you do? What do you do? So, you got to get educated. You got to learn about these financial systems and how they work. Because it's just a system. Would you agree that there is a 1% wealthy in the United States? 1% of the people seem to just have all the money and everything. And then there's the 99% of us that are all I want to be the 1%. So here's the difference. Banking is a system, a very complex system, mind you, but it's a system. And those wealthy 1% know how to leverage this system to their advantage. Would you agree with that? Yeah. Okay, now, those who don't know at all how this system works, would you agree that the system leverages you to its advantage? Yes. All right, so that's the difference between the 1% and the 99%. And you're here today because you're tired of being in the 99% and you're ready, right? Who's ready? Ready to go to the 1%? Yes. Okay, so here's how you do it. You get educated, you gotta learn this. And today you're getting educated. The information that is going to be covered today is going to be life-changing. You will literally be able to leave here and implement strategies taught today that can start fundamentally changing your life. A lot of people promise those kind of things, and you go to seminars, you go to trainings, and then it seems like all they did was make a whole bunch of hype, and then you're you got excited, but what did I really learn? Do I have anything? They're trying to sell me something, right? And then you get nothing. No, today is different. Today is an actual workshop. You will learn, you will actually take notes, you will get strategies, you will learn. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't things that will be sold or pitched to you. I am a professional, I do have services, right? There are other professionals in this room, there are other services. But I mean, it's entirely up to you whether or not you want to do anything like that. But today is about focusing on showing you the Renatus education, at least from the standpoint of the advanced financial strategies that are contained and what you can do with them. You guys okay with that?
Yeah.
Yes. All right, you ready to jump in? Okay, so we're going to talk about the greatest football game that was ever played. All right? We are. Anybody ever heard of a parable? Yes. What's a parable? What's a parable? It's a story. What? Yeah. So, somebody else had a definition? A story that teaches a lesson. So there's the story, right? And then that represents maybe a deeper meaning, right? Okay, so I'm going to tell you a story about the greatest football game that was ever played. Just happens to be between Boise State and Oklahoma University. I'm not biased. Wait a minute. Actually, let's change that. I am biased, but that doesn't change the fact that it wasn't the greatest football game ever played. Now, who are my football fans in the room? Come on, give me a bit. Who? All right. So, who are not my football fans in the room? You absolutely. What is that? It's a whole bunch of guys standing around, and what do? Just run at each other and fall down? What fun is that? That looks stupid. Okay. That's okay, because you know what? This presentation is for you. If you get nothing out of this at all today, hopefully you learn a little bit more about football. Okay, so here's the deal. I'm going to explain to you just a little bit so that you understand this parable, but it is a story, all right? And here's the connections that I want you to make. Who here owns a business? Right, good. Who here wants to own a business, but just haven't started? Okay, great. So, you business owners, you soon-to-be business owners, you're Boise State, all right? In this story, you're this young, upstart college no one's ever heard of before, and for the first time in 2007, you're playing for a national championship against the university, or against Oklahoma University, the Sooners, the most winningest college football program in the United States. Yeah, so this is a parable of how do you achieve success? I mean, you're playing for the championship. In business, what is the championship? Right? All these are right answers. Whatever it is for you, the championship. Could the championship quite possibly be having a business that brings in so much money that you don't have to work a job because the money coming in from the business offsets the need to go work at some 9 to 5? That could be winning the championship. What about having a business that is so successful that it allows you to do whatever you want, whenever you want, with whomever you want, regardless of the time or cost? Could that be success? That could be the championship. Could the championship be creating a real estate empire that is a legacy wealth that's passed on to generations after you're long and gone, and your great-grandchildren are like, thank you so much that you saved us from a life of mediocrity and poverty? I mean, it could be whatever you want. Now, when Boise State started its season, do you think it set its sights for, hey, I know, let's try and win one game this year? No. Wouldn't it be really nice if we at least won the homecoming game? I mean, come on. Or beat our in-state rival? Wouldn't that be good? At the beginning of the season, did they set that as their goal? How many people go into business and they're like, I hope that we, make some money, right? I want it to hopefully, I want to actually put more money into this business every month than what it makes back. Right? Anybody set that? To one day, someday, maybe have it make some money. Did anybody set that as a goal as a business owner? Or did we set those lofty financial freedom, living the American dream goals? Yeah. Exactly. So keep that in mind. So what's the championship? Well, Boise State is playing right now, well, not right now, but in 2007, they're playing for the championship. So what's that look like in business? Well, to get to the championship game, you have to start a business. So who are the ones, raise your hands if you have a business. Folks, today you are in the championship game. You are playing for the championship. You've already made it. How many people spend time thinking, oh, I'd like to start a business, I'm thinking about it, wouldn't it be nice, if only, and it never happens, right? And all those dreams, all those goals get laid aside. But if you've taken action and you've started your business, you're already in the championship game. That's what's awesome. Now, in the championship game, who do the Oklahoma Sooners represent? The devil! Yes. Your competition, life, obstacles, challenges. Is anybody just going to hand you $1 million, successful business. Here you go, here's your first successful real estate deal. You didn't even have to do anything. Oh, you want business credit? You want $250,000 of business credit? Whoop, there you go. You didn't even do anything for it. Is that how it works? No, you have to work for it. Sometimes you have to fight for it. Sometimes you have to struggle and to fight, claw, tooth and nail to get there. Is that what you're ready for? Are you ready to be an entrepreneur? Are you really willing to fight for your dreams? Because that's what it takes sometimes. The entrepreneurial life is not straight to the top, it's a roller coaster. And it does some loop-de-loops and some barrel rolls, and it goes straight down and you're screaming. Or at least your wife is, and you're like, no honey, it's gonna be fine. Trust me, this business is gonna work. And then it goes up. Right, you gotta be ready. You gotta be ready, because that's what it's like to be a business owner. But let me tell you, for those who have done it, it is one heck of a ride. Am I right? It's a sweet life. Okay, so this is our competition. These are the challenges. We each face different challenges and obstacles. Personal challenges, professional challenges. So here's what happens in this game. Boise State, no one's ever heard of this. This is like a David versus Goliath kind of story. Like, who is Boise State? Where is Boise? Everyone's asking before the game starts. Idaho, yeah, nobody knew. In Idaho, is that by Indiana? Or who knows where that is? So, the game starts. Right off the bat, Boise State scores on its first drive. Yeah, touchdown. Now, I'm going to teach you a little bit about football. A touchdown is worth how many points? 6. Oh, see, people are getting confused. 6 points. Then, once you score a touchdown, you have the option. Here's how football can be kind of confusing. Let me break it down for you. You have the option after you score a touchdown, which is worth 6 points, to go for an extra point. How many points is the extra point worth? 1. Okay. Or you could go for a 2-point conversion. How many points is the 2-point conversion worth? 2. Okay, see, it's not as hard as it sounds. So they score a touchdown and then they kick the extra point. So they have, what's their score? There you go. See, you guys, you didn't realize you were going to also be doing math. It's good stuff. So then what happens? Well, they actually, there's a turnover, they get the ball again, and then they score again, right? Another 6 points. What's 6 plus 7? 14. Perfect. Then they kick the extra point, so they have 14. Awesome. So already starting off the game is broken into 4 quarters, right? And in the first quarter, they've already got 14 points. Life is good. But what's that look like in business? Start your business, you got your first sale, you got that commission, right? You did the deal, and you're right, and now you're hungry for another one. You're like, yeah, let's do it. But then what happens? Well, the Oklahoma Sooners are what happened. Life happens. Have you ever fumbled an opportunity? It was right there in front of you, and you just totally mishandled it, and it's gone. You're like, oh, I can't believe I said it. Have you ever been in a deal where you talk somebody into and out of the deal in one conversation, the same conversation? They were like so ready to close, and then they're like, I never want to talk to you again. How did I do that? Does that ever happen? Yes. Yes? Okay. So you fumble opportunities. How about this? In business, for those of my real estate investors, have you ever had a deal intercepted by the competition? You're making a bid, you're going to deal, and somebody comes in and, what happened? Where'd it go? Oh, it's over there now. Somebody, I was going to close on it. I got the money, and it's gone. Does that ever happen? Yes. It was there. No, it's not. Yeah. So we fumble opportunities. Sometimes the competition comes in. Well, because why? Because the competition's bank is bigger, faster, and stronger than your bank account. That's why. You're like, oh man, so what do? Well, you find yourself like Boise State at the end of the game, 4th and 18. Now, for those of you who don't know anything about football, that means absolutely nothing to you, 4th and 18. All right? Very simply, you've got 4 tries to move the ball 10 yards. That's it. And so every 10 yards you get it to start over. If you don't, then the other team gets the ball. But here's the problem. It's the end of the game. We're in the fourth quarter. So she understands the situation of frustration. 18 seconds left to go. 18 seconds. Fourth down. They're on the 50-yard line. So the field, football field, 100 yards long. You're right here, right smack dab in the middle. 18 seconds left to go. So it's not going to help you at all just to go 10 yards, and then the game's over. You've actually got to cross all 50 yards and score, because here you are at the end of the game, and you're down by a full touchdown and extra point. It's 35-28. Now, anybody feel like their business is in the fourth quarter of the game, and it's come down to this last play, and if we don't make something happen, we're going to lose? So, for my football fans, when you're in a situation where it's fourth down, and might as well be a mile, right? You've got to get it all the way over to the big island in one play, right? That's how far you've got to go. What's the play that you call?
Hail Mary.
The Hail Mary! Yeah! And what's the percentage of time, if we put a percentage on how often you chuck the ball all the way down the field and your team catches it and you win the game, how many times does that happen? What percentage?
1%.
Yeah, about less than 1% of the time. Because why? Do you think the defense knows exactly what you need to do? And so they put all of their people all the way back. They're in what's called the prevent defense. Does it ever feel like in business that all the forces are aligned against you in a prevent you from succeeding defense? Right? It seems like, my goodness, when I'm trying to move forward, and then what's this bill? And then we got an NSF fee, and you didn't pay the dentist, and then all of a sudden, what's going on? You're like, ah. It just seems like there's all these forces that are aligned against you. You're trying to move forward on a deal, and then you didn't fill out that worker permit form, or where's this form? And you're like, oh man. It's prevent defense. So you're going to throw the ball down the field, and they put all their people back. And you're like, okay, give it your best shot. So when your business is sitting there looking for money, and you've tried everything, and you don't know what to do, you've begged, you've pleaded, please give me money, and you think, you know what, here's what we'll do. We'll take our business and these really weak financials that we have, we'll take to the business and we'll throw that Hail Mary and please give us a credit card or a loan, something to help us stay in business one more month. I mean, what is the percent opportunity or the percentage of times when you're in that desperate situation and you really need money that the bank's like, oh, yeah, sure, you're desperate? Here, let me give you some money. Or you're desperate too? Here, let me give you some money. What happens? You get denied. Here's the thing about finance, business finance. There's a principle wherever you're at. If you really need money and you're desperate for it, nobody wants to lend it to you. That's just the way it is. If you don't need money and you're doing okay, everybody wants to say, hey, let me give you some money. You don't need some? You're doing well? I'll hop on that gravy train. So, business credit is about helping you not appear desperate to the banks so they don't want to give you money, but how to be legitimate and show that you actually you're doing pretty well. So, but the Hail Mary play isn't what's going to work. Business credit is what's going to work. You need to know the right play to call in the right situation. And so when banks are saying no, when lenders are saying you don't qualify, what do you do? Well, let's see what Boise State did. Hopefully the audio is all hooked up, right? Should be. All right. No? Okay. Hold on. Pause it.
Narrative.
Sorry, guys. Guys, you got the greatest football game ever. All right, it's worth waiting just a little bit to get that. Last play of the game, 50-yard line. Everybody's expecting the Hail Mary pass. All the defenders are back.
Try that now.
All right, come on. You ready?
To move the chains. A last gasp for the Broncos.
Francis Lynch might be critical here to save time on throwing the ball.
Down the middle.
Please wait, right?
Yes. The lateral. Woo! Touchdown. Now 6 points. Down by 1.
In the final seconds of
Kicking an extra point.
18. Montgomery. And it is good. But it's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog.
You heard that? It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. Here's what that means. If you were Amazon, if you were Walmart, if you were Google, this big company, and you went to the bank and you asked for some business credit, what do you think the bank would say to you? If you're the big dog.
Sure.
Right? Absolutely. They say, sure. How much do you want? Now, if you're this little company here that no one's ever heard of, right? You're just this little dog, and you go to the bank like, please, sir, may I have some, you know. See, here's what's great about business credit. Business credit is an even playing field. That's what's so great about it. Big companies, little companies, doesn't matter because the rules are the same for everybody. That's why we love business credit. And if you know the rules and you know how to traverse through the financial field, you can score. So, here's what today's all about. The Entrepreneur's Playbook for Building Business Credit. Isn't that cool? Yeah, I love it. See, what's a playbook? In sports, what is your playbook? It's your master plan. It's your strategy guide. It's how do we step by step get to where we win the game, where we accomplish our goals. So business credit. You know, this didn't show up as well. It looked better on my slide. All right, so I'll read this to you. Okay, so business credit is for you. If you're wondering, what's this business? It's for you if you're looking for money to start or grow your business, or you've been denied financing or credit, or you think you might be. You want the easiest and fastest way to get capital. You want your business to fund itself and not actually suck money from you, right? You want the blueprint to get away from personal guarantees. Yeah, people will give you business credit all day long as you're willing to be personally liable for the company. Ooh. And then you want the most money at the best terms to start and grow your business. That's in business credit, you know, is for you, and that's what you do. Now, business credit is not for you if you're looking for a get-rich-quick scheme. I'm sorry, this is not somehow like Jesus taking 5 loaves and feeding the thousands and stuff like that. There's no miracle business credit that's going to happen here. It's actually a formula. You have to work it step by step. So this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. Now, if you want to use shortcuts like shelf corps, CPNs, or buying trade lines, none of that works, and it's unethical. And we don't, in Renatus, teach anything that is unethical. So if you're thinking that, hey, yeah, I'll buy some shelf corp that's been sitting there for, 5 years, and I all of a sudden got 5 years of, no, it doesn't work that way. And all the lenders see right through that too. So just a waste of money. Try that. Now, if you expect money to fall from the sky with no work or qualification, this isn't for you. There's a lot of people who say, yeah, I want to work with you. I want to get business credit. I'll buy your book. Yeah, I read your book. And somehow, by magically buying the book and maybe set it on top of your head, osmosis and gravity will make it just seep into your... No, it doesn't work that way. Just like the book or our program, the education that you take with Renatus, you have to apply it. You have to take it, and then they lay it out. Here's your 7 steps, and you do it. Okay, if you intend on getting money with no personal guarantee and then not paying it back, business credit is not a strategy that we're going to teach you to somehow consolidate all of your personal debt and then leave your company and let it file for bankruptcy, and you're like, oh, I'm free as a bird. No, that's unethical, and there's really no bankruptcy judge that'll let you get away with that anyway. But again, I bring that up because business credit has in some cases gotten a bad rap because people try to do unethical things with it, and that's not what we're here to teach you how to do. Are we good with that? Perfect. Let's move on. So that's me and my business partner Ray, and we've done some pretty cool things with business credit. Now usually if this is the only presentation I give you, then I tell you about all those things, but since we're going to spend a whole bunch of time later today telling you about all that, let me just say that we've set 7 businesses up together that use business credit as a successful foundational model for our business's success. And we've helped 90 other clients do the same thing in the last year. So we'll get more into that later. And then this is another business partner of mine, Stephen Weibel. He works with Credit Suite. He's a business partner of Megan Christensen. Megan Christensen is who? She's the Renaissance instructor that teaches this whole course. I'm actually a business partner of Megan Christensen's. I am what's called business credit certified. I'm allowed to come and train you today because she has trained me to train you. Okay, that's how this works. But he's also done some amazing things, and we can talk about this later as well. But business credit can be used if you're interested in real estate investing on both a buy and hold strategy. You can use business credit with rentals and achieve some amazing results that we'll talk about later. But if you want to use business credit with a fix and flip strategy, it works really well with fix and flip strategies. And I mean, there's just so much that we've got to cover today that I really got to move past this, but I love talking about these strategies. And there are some of you in this room today that will be joining us for part 2 of this class tomorrow. You know, those who will do that. And we will definitely go over a lot of these advanced strategies tomorrow. Now, the reality of business financing. If you want money, where do you go? If you want money for your business, where do you go? Where do people go? They go to the bank. Yes. Now, look at that. Here's 10 people. All right, who are my business owners? Raise your hands. Hi, crowd. Hey, please stand up. Yeah, I'm pointing at you. Stand up if you're a business owner. Go ahead, stand up. Stand up. But back there, please stand up. Come on, folks. Don't be shy. Audience participation is welcome. Yeah, okay, good. You guys are good. Stand. Keep standing. Okay. Here are our business owners. Now let me illustrate something for you. We have 10 business owners standing up, approximately, maybe more. But here's what happens. I'm the bank. All of you are coming to me for around $150,000, $250,000, maybe in lines of credit or loan. And you know, here's what happens. You've all filled out the application to come to me, the bank. I represent, let's say, every bank. Maybe not the Island Bank. I don't know how everything works here. It's usually like if you have a pulse. Okay, here you go. Here's 500,000. I don't know how it works here in Hawaii. No, they got some amazing banking products here, and you really should plug in with the local team here and learn more about that. But I'm going to tell you, here's what the average bank happens. They'll be like, hey, Kenny, we reviewed your application. I'm sorry to say, but you're not approved. You just didn't have really any capacity. You haven't been in business long enough. Sorry, please sit down. And then, Arlene, I'm sorry, you didn't get approved either. You have no cash flow. Sorry, didn't meet our requirement. Now, please sit down. Paul, hey, I really thank you for applying, but sorry, just not enough collateral. You can't qualify for this loan. Justin, Cheryl, Damon, Damon, sorry. Guys, look, we just have found some discrepancies in your file, and we're just not comfortable moving forward at this time. There's might not be anything you've done, but we sense some character, some fraud possible issues. Please go back and take a look at that and apply again later. Thank you. Hey, folks, thank you so much for applying. Just sorry, but your personal credit stinks, okay? So you're not allowed to work with us, so go ahead and have a seat. You know, Frank, Daryl, really appreciate you guys applying, but I'm so sorry. Without enough time in business, we can't really fund you today, so go ahead and have a seat. Let me say Carl. Yes. Lorraine. Hey, thank you so much for applying, but I'm sorry, you're just not qualified at this time because, well, we're concerned we've got some fraud alerts that came in on this. You might want to go check that out. I don't know what that's about. Hi, what's Nadine? Thanks for applying. Sorry, you just don't have any collateral. So not enough collateral for us to loan to you this time. And what's your name? Azul? Nice. Hey, congratulations, you've been approved.
They can have some money.
No, remember, he's got fraud issues. Guys, 10 entrepreneurs apply to the bank, and statistically only 1 out of 10 gets approved. That kind of stinks, doesn't it? That's not cool. Well, why? Well, think about this. This is what the bank knows. Per the Bureau of Labor Statistics, more than half of businesses will fail in the first 5 years or less. So if I'm a bank and I'm lending you money and I know that there's a 50-50% chance you're going to fail and not be able to pay me back, and I'm going to be ready to lend you money so quickly, maybe I'm going to tighten my lending restrictions. 82% of business failures are due to issues of lack of cash flow. A lot of business banks don't want to lend to you if you're not making any money. Now, how many people have learned like tax strategies and how to, write everything off, right? Yes. And the bank does not want to lend to you because you're not making any money. I don't want to lend to you. You're showing zero profits. And you're like, yeah, I'm not. But I'm like, I don't want to give you any money. So this is a challenge, a paradigm that a lot of people face with going for business credit. So how do we get to be that guy? How do you get through the cash flow and the collateral, the credit issues, the character issues, the fraud, all that? How do you get to the point where you apply and you get approved? In fact, would you like to know how to follow all the steps so that you know you're that guy before you even submitted the application? Would that be cool? That's what we're covering today. All right, so Entrepreneur's Playbook. Again, sorry that this didn't turn out so well. Business credit success is about knowing your opponent, right? Set up your business where it's fundable by meeting the lender approval criteria before you apply. That's what I just said. If you know how to set your business up the right way, you have confidence that before you've even submitted the application, you're going to get approved because you already know what the underwriting guidelines are. Get business credit for your EIN that's not linked to your SSN. What's an EIN? Employer identification number. What's an SSN? Perfect. Right? This is what makes you more lendable. Now, capital is available. What is capital? Money. Thank you. Capital is available if you know where to look. So find all the funding options in one place. Meaning, you go to the bank, and a lot of times people apply for money, and they get approved, and then they're like, well, that's it. But was that the only source where you could find money? Were they the only people? Yeah, they offered a specific product at a specific time. But when you start working with this group, we start working with, say, the Wise Guys in Ties, with Credit Suite, with Megan Christensen's company, we'll pool all of the financial resources that are available right in one place so that you can have the confidence to learn what they are, where they are, how to apply, and you have the confidence to go out and seek secondary lenders in different types of situations. So, let's say business credit success is about knowing your opponent. Guys, wouldn't it be great to know that when you apply, you just get automatic approval? You're not sitting there, I put in the application, I'm like, no, I already know that I submit the application, I'm not gonna get that phone call. Hello, this is Mr. Moneybags from the bank, we need to review. No phone calls, submit the application, automatic computer approval, right? This is what we're talking about. Lender and credit issuers have secret, unpublished set of standards that you must meet to get approved. It's called the underwriting guidelines. Now, if If I told you that I will give you $500,000 if you show me, and I have this checklist of stuff here. If you bring that to me, then you get $500,000. Would that make things a lot easier? Right, that's what business credit is. Business, or the training that we have, the program, the education, is that we show you all those little things that you need to do, right? That's not out there in the public domain for you to find out. Now, how fundable your business is determined if you get automatic approvals or get denied. Meaning, if you build business credit and you do it the right way and you get these automatic approvals, that's great, but it also affects everything. Everything in business is affected by your business credit. Does business need to get insurance? What kind of interest rate you'll pay, the terms that you get will be dependent upon your business credit, right? Any kind of, we're not just talking loans. A lot of things are dependent upon your business credit, and businesses don't understand this. That's why they're like, everything's so expensive for your business. If you don't have business credit, then you're always at the highest rate, the highest term, the longest, the most interest rate, the longest terms or shortest terms. But this is what we want to change for you. We want to start a chain of events that by building business credit leads to blessing after blessing, overflowing abundance for you. And to help us better understand this step-by-step process is my business partner, Ray Fleming, all right? I'm just the opening act. I'm just the warm-up, right? I haven't really trained you on anything. I just got you excited, right? The guy who's going to take you down dirty and teach you all these things. And if he doesn't, you let me know, because then he's fired, right? But my business partner, Mr. Ray Fleming. And why do you want to listen to this guy? Because he started more businesses than I have fingers and toes, all right? He, at a very young age, started an eBay business back when that was cool, and bought things at flea markets and at garage sales, and then turned around and put it on the internet and sold it for hundreds of more dollars. That's like fix and flipping junk, guys. That's pretty cool. This guy's had a kettle corn business. But who here doesn't like kettle corn? That's good stuff, right? He's had a kettle corn business, he's had a landscaping business, a handyman business, and he's had wholesaling businesses, fix and flipping businesses, he has rental properties, he has a nightly rental business. This guy has started so many businesses. Some have not been successful, but many of them have been. But here's why you want to listen to him, because he has discovered through many years of research and effort how to meet all those underwriting guidelines. He's going to show you and tell you how you can do the same thing. Is that cool or cool? Cool. All right. Now, he's also going to be able to help you rid the world of hunger, salt, world peace, and he's going to bring all of it together to you today. Please welcome to the front of the room, Mr. Ray Fleming.
Clicker.
This is awesome. I've been wanting one of these. What are these, kukui nuts?
Yeah.
Louis, that's a shoe.
Thank you.
I'm gonna wear this forever. Hi everybody, how are you doing? I'm so excited to be here. Man, that sounds really good, Joseph, but it wasn't always that perfect. Yeah, it didn't start out that way. But we can solve all the problems of the world. Because, to tell you the truth, I was talking to Frank, actually. I met Frank last night, and I was talking to Frank about this, that I see people every day, just in a daze, walking through this light. You guys notice this? You see this every single day. 95% of people just going through the motions. So, they're not here in this room. People that are in this room, you have a responsibility, because there's change that does need to be taking place in this world, and let's be honest, it takes money to make change. There's no charity that ever started, there's no church that ever started without funding and backing. And if you feel like you are destined to make some change in this world, you're in the right place. This is like what Richie was saying last night. You're given the ingredients, it's for you to make the cake. And that's what I did. I'm just making the cake. And I want to make a whole lot of money, Like, it's kind of scary when I think about how much money I want to make, so I can just land it. Isn't that why we want to make money? No, actually, I'm kind of selfish. What I want is I want some really fancy plaques in like children's hospitals and orphanages and things like that that says, Ray just gave us $1 million. Anybody else want that feeling? No. That's what I want. That's what I want. So I'm putting it out there, now I have to come up with it, or else you're like, Ray, you didn't follow through. So when Joseph talks about this, he says, yeah, certain things weren't successful, but they were successful in a way that I just figured out how not to do certain things. And I think that that's really what it attributes to my success, is that I've had to fail all those times, or have not necessarily failures, but unsuccessful experiments to figure out how to actually start making it work. Who's ever worked out, I mean, does it get, it's kind of warm right now, does it get hotter than this though? Anybody ever worked out on like roofs, landscaping, out in the heat? Okay, contractors, anybody of these people? Okay, you're my people, because especially in Tucson, Arizona, you know, the little thermometer on your car can be wrong, but when I left, you know, when I first get in the car, it said 122. It was not that hot. I think it was only about 112, but still, that's really hot, especially if you're on a roof. So, I wanted to be a business owner. I wanted the flexibility of my life. I was tired of people telling me what to do. Anybody else not like listening to other people? That's why I came here to be a business owner, because I wanted to do whatever I wanted to do, with whoever I wanted, whenever I wanted, and the money to do so. So I'm out there, I'm a business owner, I'm working on the roofs, and I'm working on this cooler. Turns out when you're doing subcontractor work, you don't just have one boss, you have 30 bosses. I have homeowners, I got tenants, I have landlords, I have contractors, I have everybody telling me what to do, when and where, and it was even worse than when I just had one boss. So I'm up there and I'm working on this roof and I'm trying to fix this cooler, and sweat's dripping down, burning my eyes. I'm just thinking to myself, okay, I did this, so I was free, but then I still feel trapped because I'm running late to this other job. And it was like the clouds opened up and there was this vision and this light. And it was like I was having this, it was like this coming to Jesus moment. But what it was is actually there was a reflection off of a black Porsche. So that was actually what caught my eye. Anybody know who a guy named Woody Woodward is?
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more even now, but I used to be a director to the max, which means I just like really fancy things. And so I'm like, oh, I'm always dirty. I have a dirty truck. I want this nice Porsche, and I want to wear a nice suit like this guy. So the first thing I thought was, I need to become a realtor, because they drive nice cars, they wear nice clothes, and that's what this guy, we're obviously working on this project that's going to be for sale. He's wearing a suit, nice car, he must be a realtor. That's where my mind went. After he left, I walked down, talking to Bob, and I said, Bob, what agency does this guy work for? Because I wanted to try to meet him and go find out how to be an agent. Not to talk back on any agents, but then he said, no, Ray, he's not an agent, he owns the property. I'm like, ah. So then the next thing in my mind goes, lawyer, possibly a business manager of some sort. And he's like, no, Ray, he also he owns the other 3 houses that we're working on down the street. This was back in about 2012, so there's a lot of rehabs that were taking place. There's a lot of rehabs taking place today. So it didn't make any sense to me, because the guy was only about 40 years old. I said, okay, how can somebody that's 40 years old own this much real estate? And my mind goes to the next thing. Well, he had it handed to him. He was part of a wealthy family. He won the lottery. And it was this learned helplessness that I thought everybody that had funds and money had it handed to them, or they won the lottery. So then I'm like, okay, business idea. Here we go. Let's get all my buddies, everybody that's been working out here in the heat with me, let's get all of our money together for what?
For property.
What'd you say? No, yes. But no, what I should have done is to go buy properties. No, what we did was we took hundreds and hundreds of dollars weekly to go buy lottery tickets. That's what it was. Thank the Lord that we never won because somebody would not show up the next day. If somebody actually had won that, there's no contracts in place. Like it would be litigation, everything would be tied up with lawyers. It'd be a mess. Thankfully, I did not win the lottery. I won the lottery the moment I walked into a room like this. When I sat here and I looked around and I was like, person next to me, I was like, these are the people I need to hang around with. When I found Renatus, that is the day I won the lottery. Because I could literally lose all of our businesses tomorrow, and guess what I'm doing Monday? Filing my next business, talking to my other partners, raising more capital. There's no shortage of money in this world, folks. There's just a shortage of the people that are willing to do whatever it takes to make those dreams happen. And that's what Renatus is. That's what this group is. That's what this community is. It's all about people that are just like, hey, we're going there. Coming with us? Because that's what I said. I'm going with you guys. And so that's a little bit about where I came from and what brought me here today. But I'll tell you, it was not easy. It's hard. But when you have other people that back you, it's easier to stick the course. And so you'll get to know a little bit more about me and how I was injured and actually about to lose my house when I first found this group. I couldn't make my mortgage payments, and I was actually about to lose my house. And actually, oh, that's my song. Wait, we gotta go back. How do I get that music back? It's a little late, but that's okay. Who has a walk-up song? Okay, I got a walk-up now. I'm like, all right. Yes, that's awesome. Perfect. Okay, so here's some of the projects that we've just done in like the last 2 years. That house is the first house we ever bought. That's another house on the same street. And that's another house on the same street. So when I actually found this group a little over 3.5 years ago, I was about to lose my house. I had a wedding that wasn't even paid for. I had a little baby. It was a mess. And I was losing my businesses. I had a California business that I couldn't work, and my handyman contractor business that I couldn't work because I basically shattered my leg. And so the guys look at me, he's like, you're gonna be out of work for at least 4 to 6 months. Figure it out. And I'm like, I have no idea. The last idea, I can't go back to buying lottery tickets. But what's important is, I was about to lose everything, and then I found this group. And they're like, hey, we have so many different ways you can make money. Not just doing real estate, because that takes time to learn. It takes time to set up a business and make sure you raise the capital the right way. It's like, can you make some ads online? I was like, oh, yeah. It's like, can you do some Facebook stuff? Yeah, okay, you can make some money doing that. I was like, all right. So that's what I did. And I was able to float myself until I got better, raised some money, paid for the wedding, and thankfully, we just closed literally 2 days before we flew out on the 3rd house on my street. There's only 10 houses on the street. We just bought the 3rd house on our street for rentals. And so, it all goes back to the group like this. It wouldn't have happened if it wasn't this. So these are just some of Joseph and I's properties. So today, just got to lay a little foundation. We're going to be with you for a while. I wanted you to know where we're coming from. We're just like, now when we talk about business credit. Now what is this even worth today? I want you to know like the knowledge that we're dropping easily. What you're going to learn today worth $5,000, hands down. Hands down, this knowledge is worth some serious money. And the easiest way to really start to relate what we're going to talk about is, what was this? Versus? Perfect. So they both work as the tax IDs for entities. Your physical body entity and your business entity. Now, on your personal side, what is a perfect personal credit score? 850, yes. Now there's other scoring models out there, but majority of scoring models, it's 850. Now, what is the perfect score for your business? Ah, yes. I heard it over there, and if you don't know, you're gonna definitely find out what it is and why. Because if we need to know what we're shooting for, isn't it good to know what that number is? Okay, now let's go back to personal side. If you wanted to check your personal credit score, who would you go to? Who are the big three bureaus? Experience, TransUnion, and Equifax. Perfect. That's for your personal credit. Who reports on the business side? Okay, heard one of them. All right, so we heard a couple of them. Some of you, if you don't know, we're definitely going to go over that today. Let's go back to the personal credit. What could cause your personal credit to either go up or down, left,
Sideways.
sideways? Payments. Anybody know the percentage of your report that's affected by payment history?
30-something.
Yeah, it's like 35%. 35% of your profile is payments. What's next? What is another big?
Utilization.
Utilization.
History.
Who does not know what utilization is? Okay, so let's imagine that this is our credit limit. We have a credit card, 0, and our limit is $1,000. If we're carrying $1,000 balance, our utilization is what percent? 100%. 50% would be $500. Ideally, trying to stay in the 30% range, which of course you all learned in high school, right? How to optimize your credit, since it's so important to us. Yeah, we're gonna learn any of these things. That's the next session on conspiracies on why we don't learn how to pay taxes, credits, finance, all that good stuff. It's to keep us in little straight roads like this. All right, next one. Inquiries, yes. So how many hard inquiries are on the credit? What else? What is another
Make
factor?
the credit. Your history, the time agent credit.
Yes, yes. So is it good to have a bunch of brand new accounts?
No.
No, that's actually, if you close an old credit account, it can lower your score because they like to see that you've been able to manage it for a long period of time and not use it. And there is one more. It is the mix of accounts. So there's actually a perfect mix to things. Like the ideal number of credit cards is 3. That is the ultimate way to optimize the mix. There's one mortgage, one loan, is it 2 car loans or 1 loan? 1 car loan and 3 credit cards. That is the ultimate, that if you have just those 5, that's like the key number. Now if you have a little bit more, it's not gonna be a huge, it's not gonna mess you up a whole lot, but it's 10% of your profile. So these are things to understand. Now, let's move over to the business side. If we know what affects our personal side, we can adjust these and optimize it. What affects our business credit? Okay, so is it all of these?
No.
All right, so if you're not too sure, that's another thing we're going to cover today. You're going to know these before you leave. Now, back on your personal side. When I talked about what is the credit scores, I'm sure everybody thought of where you're at currently in the situation. How long will it take you to get to 850? First off, is anybody at 850 in here? One day I'll find that unicorn. Oh, are you at 850? I was like, one day I'll find a unicorn. Anybody know anybody at an 850? You do? This mythical creature. I want to meet him. Because what happens, as soon as it gets good enough, I mean, usually we end up using it, right? Okay, now, if you're like my friend back there, we don't give him a hard time, but got 2 foreclosures and a bankruptcy.
Hey!
How long would it take for some of us to actually get taken? That's right. Take forever. Take forever. On business side though, how long does it take to get a good business credit rating? A lot quicker than you may think. So we're definitely going to cover that today. So I need to do a little disclaimer. Yeah, so I'm not licensed, I'm not going to be practicing anything, especially in this setting, all right? So even if I have a license, this is all general in practice. Well, I'll just read it. Okay, I'm not licensed attorney, accountant, financial advisor, programming license, digital, even I'm licensed in active. That's either. Well, we're going to discuss providing specific financial advice instructions will apply specific individual presentation, intended to general information only. Why is it that recommending these decisions is professional limited decision and legal impact, especially financial decisions?
What?
What is it that you say? The big text. What do you say? The big text. Say it.
Oh,
little text.
the big print giveth,
Give it.
and the small print taketh away.
Okay. What does that really mean, though?
I mean, if you don't read the small print.
Yeah, and to put it into easy words, I could say whatever I want, and it's your responsibility. No. Do your due diligence. I always recommend you do your due diligence on everything. I also always recommend you work with professionals. Demand the best from the professionals in your life, because unless you're an accountant, get an accountant. Get bookkeepers. Unless you want to be a CPA or an attorney, hire an attorney. Make sure that what you're doing out there, especially if you're going to be building an empire, is rock solid. So, just like Joey was talking about football, we're also going to talk about polar bears. Anybody want to take a guess on what this polar bear is doing? Yeah, it's up. It's up for debate. I heard it right there. Reflection. Anybody look in a mirror this morning? Really? There's only Kenny looked in a mirror this morning. That's why Kenny has such nice hair. Okay, I would literally bet all the money in my wallet that every single person in here looked in the mirror this morning. Every single person. But this is important. Who has a business? All right. When was the last time you put your business in front of the mirror? Every single day, we make sure that somehow the cute baby in the back didn't throw spaghetti on me, or my babies. By the way, you have such a beautiful little baby. Congratulations. I love babies. That's like my thing. I love babies. But is it possible for us to get stuff on our shirts without us knowing? And then we look in the mirror and we're like, oh man, how did this get on my face? It happens to our business every single day. And there's stuff all over all of our businesses. And our businesses are not even wearing clothes. And we go out there into the world and we're wondering why our business showed up naked and nobody wants to lend money to us. And that's exactly what we're going to talk today. We're going to talk about how clothing your business, how to make your businesses look like true professionals, just like you would for yourself. Now, I do like babies. This is my little girl. This is Iris. This is when she was much younger. We're actually going to Mexico at this. But what's important is that pillow. Anybody have children? Okay. Your child, they go through phases where they have little things that they just want to have. This pillow, I just took it when I was leaving. She's almost 7 and I cannot get rid of this pillow. This pillow has tiger stripes because I've tried to swap this pillow out. I cannot replace that pillow because she knows that pillow. She could hear that pillow cry in a crowd. Like, she understands this pillow. Now, why is this important? This is important to understand because lenders are hurt. Lenders are actually really tiny and scared. You know why they're scared? Risk. Yes. Anybody want to take a guess on the percentage of fraudulent applications that lenders receive daily? Anybody want to take some guesses? Yes. 50 to 80%. are deceitful, fraudulent in one way, shape, or another. They spend so much money preventing fraud. They're scared. They're little. They're scared. They're like, oh, Joseph was talking about how there's that one that actually gets approved because they're so afraid. They're like, I mean, they seem big and powerful, but they really are just, looking at the risk, and they're like, oh, that's comfortable. I like that. We're going to go with this. That's why they're very, very successful. Who knows about Warren Buffett? Okay, Warren Buffett, does he make 1 million different investments? Does he trade daily? Does he do all these things? Not necessarily. He attributes most of his success and his money to 10 investments. What he did is he knew every single thing about those specific things and then bet hard. What we are taught, though, is not to do that. What we are taught is to what? Diversify. And hopefully something hits. No. I see it the different way. I'm gonna put all my eggs in one basket, and I'm gonna watch it like a hawk. I'm gonna build that nest, and I'm gonna watch it. So, that's what lenders do, and we need to provide the pillow, the business that is comfortable. You can't just try to pull one by, and that's what he's talking about, shelf corporations. They understand if you're just trying to pull a fast one on them. Business name. So what we're getting into is I wanted to talk about, just lay the foundation of where we're coming from. The first and most important thing is your business name. That is the first thing. You're going to spend a lot of time thinking about it, just like children. You're going to think about naming these children. Even pets and your business. Who has a business? Okay. Kenny, what's your business name? Smart Clean LLC. And you just did you actually spend time thinking about that, right? Yeah, you're like, thinking about like what the logo might look like, what it looks on business cards, t-shirts, how this is, I'm gonna check it out to see if anybody else is using this name, right? So you spend time thinking about these things. Do you know what a bad business name is? When they figure out on the fly. Well, so if we were to name our child Hitler, is that is actual the word Hitler a bad name, or is it the association that comes with it? Does it create confusion? Because then somebody's like, oh. Yes, it brings up emotions and confusion, and it's like, why would anybody do this? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, don't they understand? Have they been living under a rock? Like, there's so much confusion that comes along with that. There's business names that have these stigmas or confusion, especially if we're in, let's talk about Ben. Is Ben a bad name?
No.
Any Bens in the room? Ben? Okay, so, like Ben's not a bad name, but paired up with not the right last name can create some confusion. So like, you got Ben Dover. I actually went to school with a guy named Benjamin Dover. And so I was actually trying to find him on Facebook, and then I couldn't find that. Go figure he doesn't put Ben Dover on Facebook.
Really?
Okay. Confusion. Therapy, possibly. It just made him tougher. And as you can see, he's a real estate agent, so he got tired of people making fun of him, so he became his own boss. Real estate. Real estate. That's one of those words that creates confusion. Not that you need to go out and change your business name tomorrow. It creates confusion. Why would real estate create confusion? You're right, they don't know much. That's right. Not quite sure. Also, real estate, would you be surprised to know it's a high-risk industry? It is. See, and I always found that kind of interesting, that it's a high risk. I mean, I think the risk is more in the investor, but, has anybody heard the little analogy of, okay, Les, how do you say it? Les. Okay, Les. Have you ever bought a house? All right, so you're about to buy a house, right? Yeah, that's the goal. That's why you're here. Buy some properties. Okay, so what do you think the bank would say Amazon's doing good, right? Would you say Amazon's a pretty successful business? What would the bank say if you went to them and said, can I borrow $100,000 to put into Amazon? Oh, what would we do? What would the bank do? What would the bank do if you asked for $100,000 to invest in Amazon? In stocks? Would they say yes or no?
Me personally? No.
Yeah, I mean, they would say, they'd be like, no. But what if you went to them and said, there's a $100,000 house, or a $1 million house, or let's just say a $100,000 house. Can I get $100,000 to go buy this house? They do that all day long, right? And with very small down payments, too. So the question is, if they won't go into the stock market with you, why are we all there? And why are we not taking our retirements and putting them into real estate where the banks go? Because that's where the banks put their money, into real estate. So that's an easy way for us to raise capital, is through self-directed retirement accounts. If you have not heard of self-directed retirement, and we'll get into, actually, you know what, we're going to get back to that subject, but write that down, SDIRAs, and we'll cover that later. Back to the main thing, real estate. There's a lot that goes into this. Investments. They don't know. Are you a brokerage? What type of investments are you actually in? Are you some type of financial institution? Because there are regulations that prohibit banks lending to other financial institutions. There's a whole other set of rules that they need to go through, and it's not just done through an online application. So it's not that you need to go change it tomorrow. If you have a business with investments in it, you have a business with real estate in it, it doesn't need to go out and be changed tomorrow. All we have to do is make sure you're built up stronger in other areas to compensate for confusion. That's all. So other things we need to do is, let's talk about the next thing, business address. So that's one way to really increase your credibility, is where is your business located? Well, the first place I ever put my business was at my house. I'm starting a business. I have no money to go open up an office. That costs thousands of dollars. So I'm going to put it at my house. But then I got online, and there was this site that talked about pockets that are really big, and there's a lot of people on there that are supposed to be really knowledgeable and experts, and they said, well, go get an office. And I said, well, I can't get an office. How much would it cost to take out an office? Here? Thousands, right? Thousands of dollars a month. I mean, we have 2 offices in Tucson, we have 2 in Phoenix, and they're not cheap. They're expensive. And that's where we are, and I think it's cheap where we live. So what I was told is go to get a P.O. box. But then somebody stopped me on this forum and said, no, you can't use a P.O. box. You have to go to the UPS store and get a mailbox. Because why?
As an address.
Yes, it looks like an actual office location. So it's, 115 West South Street, Unit 115-116. So it's like, man, that's just a really big building. Really big building. So, did you know that when I went to the bank, they had Google, and they knew that it was a UPS store, a mailbox, etc., and they were like, well, actually, where's your business located? Yes, that created some problems. So, home, not the ideal location, but it's an okay place to start. Office is ideal. P.O. boxes are just a straight no-no. Virtual office, it's a little bit different. They have a virtual office. Do you guys know, Richie, are there virtual offices on the island?
Yes.
Okay. What's really great about virtual offices is it's a place where your business could be technically located. It is usually an executive type suite location where little businesses rent out suites by hour, week, months. They provide mail service. One very important thing about a virtual office that is missed, you have to have a private mailbox number that's registered with the Postal Service, or else you get thrown into the bag of everybody else. Not that that's a deal breaker, it just requires extra verification. So if you have one that is at the same location as 200 other businesses, they might have a few more questions. They're gonna wanna see some driver's license. I've even seen where they wanna ship it to your home address. They're like, we know that's a virtual office. What is your address on your driver's license? We'll ship it there. And so it's just these little extra formalities that you have to go through. Or you do what I did and put people to your mom's house. All right, so had a landscaping business, little contractor business. I have tools, I have trailers. The last thing I ever want is people showing up to my house or knowing where I'm at.
So you said it your mom's house?
Got it? That's what I did. I mean, anybody else like not want to ever, who has their business at their house, leave that information off because you don't want people knowing where you live? Anybody else ever been there? Did you know that the lenders see that as deceitful? That's why I'm like, no. I'm not trying to be deceitful. I just don't want other people knowing where I live. And the lender's like, well, if you don't want other people knowing where your business is, we find that shady. That's the way that they think. They're like, why are you trying to hide? I'm like, well, people are gonna come steal my stuff. So I send them to my mom's house, because she didn't have anything in her yard to steal. So, but on Google it comes up as my mom's house. So, one day I'm over there and I just finished, and I have my trailer and everything. I'm driving over, and there's this guy like creeping around the side, and he's got like this tool or something. Oh my gosh! Like I'm gonna grab a shovel. Like there's some guy on the side of she's a widow, like she's by herself, like I'm gonna go, like somebody's trying to break in. And I come around and the guy's like, digging in. I'm like, hey buddy, like sorry you got the wrong house. He's like, no, Nancy told me that she's paying me to do this. I do that. I mean I haven't done it in a little while. And, anybody know any mechanics that don't take care of their own cars? Kind of like the same guy, didn't take care of my own leads. And so I go and I'm knocking on the door. I'm like, Mom, like, you just called me. I can do this for you. She's like, well, he showed up looking for you. I had some money, so I just put him to work. Next thing I know, she was stealing my clients. She put me out of business. So there's a lot of options here. What is the issue with the house or with personal residence?
Are you serious?
It's a level of commitment. That's what it is. They want to know how serious you are. Are there $1 million businesses that run out of people's houses? Yes. Is that the norm? No. Nope. That's why we got to talk about the business entity. So we talked about business name, a good place to have your business. Office is ideal. Virtual office with a private mailbox number is even, that's the next level. And sometimes you can get that for $40 a month. Super inexpensive. We're actually developing virtual office in Tucson. So this is something that you may even want to think about. If you're having trouble getting certain accounts and things out here, and you need an office on land, it's going to be very, very cost effective. I don't know, we haven't got any final numbers, but $29 to $39 for an office space to actually have a legal place for your business. Something else we'll bring to you guys. All right, so business entity. They want to know how serious you are. If you're going to actually create a business, let's create some type of actual corporation. Because anybody ever built some model cars? It's a little hobby I had as a child. And that's why, most home-based businesses are hobbies. They barely make enough or actually just lose money to pay for whatever it is you're doing. So I used to run around town, and when I mean town, my street, when I was younger, and I would do little odd jobs to buy models. That was my thing. I'd sell some candy, go buy models. It was basically just to fuel my hobby. And that happens a lot in business, because we do things that we're passionate about. Oh, I really like essential oils. So it's like, cool. Yeah, like, awesome. I have little diffusers. Thank you, Joseph's wife, for selling me a diffuser for my house. But my wife really likes them. And so I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna sell some of these right to pay for this, and then it just ends up costing money, but that's okay. So it's like treated like a hobby kind of thing. So these are the different entities that you can actually build business credit on. These ones are mainly attached to your social security number. So So living trusts. Who knew that you could build credit on a trust?
I knew. Yep.
Boom.
Oh.
So that was worth the price of admission right there. Sole proprietorships, partnerships. These are always going to have some type of social security number required for many of the accounts. Now these down here, these are where you're actually truly creating a legal separate entity from yourself. So an LLC, an S Corp, a C Corp, 503Cs. I mean, it could be a 503B, it could be a 506C. I mean, there's a lot of different types of, but nonprofits, also private placement memorandums, things like that. Those can all build business credit. So, you want to make sure that you actually create a legal entity. To truly build business credit, you've got to be a separate entity. Everybody good with that? All right. And then I always use a company called KKOS. Anybody ever used KKOS? They're amazing. They've never cost us a penny. Does that make sense? We've gotten into some hairy situations, and because of the legal structure, because of the corporate veil, we've never had any issues because we've done right. I won't ever recommend somebody going to LegalZoom and filing for themselves. It's one of those things that I just don't play around with. I'm not an attorney, and I shouldn't. Business phone number. That's the next one. So what we're doing is we're going through step by step of things that you need to cover and follow them in this specific order. So once you know what type of entity you're going to set up, let's talk about getting your entity's business phone number. What do we like to use? You guys still have pay phones?
A few.
I know, I heard a few people say, what are those?
Not many.
We don't really have these anymore. Phone books? You guys get phone books?
Still, yeah.
Okay. And now, you business owners? You put any ads in the air? No? No? Okay. No? Why, you know, it's like, you used to see businesses all the time like AAA landscaping. Why was that?
We started that.
Yeah, they're the first in the book. We don't really think about that anymore because Google can put you anywhere. Yelp can put you anywhere. This is important though. You need to be in this directory. You need to know what your business is looking like in this directory. More specifically, the National 411. Who still has a landline? Yes. We got ways that you can make some money right now. Because you can only check this from a landline. You have to check your business's 411 listing, and it can only be done through a landline. So, you have a landline.
Wait a minute. I can check 411 on my Verizon phone here.
Yes, you can, but that's not the national directory. It'll actually just take you to Verizon's directory or AT&T's directory.
And it has to be your landline or any landline?
Any landline. Any landline. So this is very important that you got to check to see if your business has a listing in there. Because lenders, remember, they're scared. They like these old, outdated systems. They like fax numbers. They like the 411 directory over your website, over Google, over Yelp, over everything. Because it's very easy to manipulate what's online. This is an organic type of system. When you're in business for a while, you got options to add ads to the phone book. You got put into the national directory, the business directory, over time as you're out there just running your business. They reference this still because it's one of those, if you're fraudulent, are you thinking about paying money to put in an old, outdated system? You're not. This is the big game changer. I mean, now there's services out there, you know, they range in prices. The most expensive one I've seen is $360 to really expedite this, and you can get it there in a week. So, but I mean, there's some other cool things. Working with us, we get you in there just, you know, at no cost. Our goal is to, yes sir?
What if I want to just sort of skip some shortcuts? You talked about all that stuff earlier and just go straight for the 411. I want to do the entity name, address. I just want to go straight for the 411.
Well, I mean, you can't really skip these steps. The problem is, you know, what number are you even putting in here? You know, what's your business name? All these things you've had to have gone through the process of understanding and making sure that those were done right before you even get here, because they're going to want to know this information of where you're actually located, what your phone number is. And that's the other thing too, are you going to be using a cell phone number? Yes, sir.
So just as a reference, the banks are using something called a customer due diligence system and a suspicious activity monitoring system to validate your identity. That's why this is important.
That is
Because
right.
they are regulated by the feds as to what they can and cannot do, and they're accountable for your actions. So what you gotta remember is any shortcuts you take in doing this will raise the suspicion to the bank or entity and it'll put it in question. So you wanna take the time to do this right and give it as much bake time as you can because it speaks to the validity of the identity. And that's the key. I work for said organization, so I'm explaining to you how it works.
Eric, you're my new best friend.
So just
Talking
from
my
that
language.
perspective, it needs to, you want to take your time and do this right. If you give birth to a company wrong and it becomes suspicious, you're going to have a heck of a time fixing it later.
That is right. Get it done right the first time. Awesome. Awesome, Eric. You're the man. You gotta go to dinner. Actually, you're all coming with us. All right. So, suspicious.
That's what Eric was talking about.
This is what Eric's talking about. He's talking about you guys are going to be looking like this. Who has a Google Voice number? Really? Only one person? Like Google Voice number.
They do, they just don't know they have them.
Oh, okay. A number that was free from Google? Yes? Anybody?
Yeah.
You guys do roadside signs out here?
We ate that.
None?
No.
Okay, so if you guys, you know somebody that does roadside signs? Your friend does roadside signs? And your friend put a Google Voice number on there because when they put their We Buy Houses Fast Cash, there's fine police. So you guys can get fined out here for doing that, right? But they can't fine you if they can't find you? Okay, we're not doing anything unethical. Know what you can and can't do in your area. Certain areas you can put them out on the weekend and just take them down by Sunday. There's other areas you can just put it up and there's no problems. If you don't know what we're talking about now a way to generate leads for your real estate. Putting out those signs on the road work, and they work good. So, but if you can't do it here, you gotta kind of find other ways. We use Google Voice numbers because they're free. Cell phone numbers because you already have one. Personal cell phone numbers, Google Voice numbers, those get flagged. They want an actual number that's registered to your business. Having an 800 number attached to it adds just extra credibility. But you do need a local number that's registered to your business that you can actually list in the 411 directory. Now, there's services out there where you can do this for very cheap, not $10 a month. There's Freedom Voice, there's Vonage, I mean, there's all sorts of companies out there. Just scour the internet, see. We have a couple that we'll show you later, companies that we've used with success.
I think you just answered, because the VoIP line
Yes.
is considered a landline.
That's really what it is, a VoIP, voice over internet protocol type system. So many of those numbers, somebody calls and they'll go into an automated, it could be a phone answering service, it could be you could go straight to your cell phone. I mean, there's a lot of ways to get that set up. Next, business email address. Very important. So let's talk about, you're working with Joseph, and he's at Bank of America. I know you guys don't really have Bank of America out here, but say, oh, you do?
We did.
Until you guys scared them all away. That's cool. I heard you guys got some really cool banks out here. All right, so imagine that you're in the mainland and you're dealing with Joseph at Bank of America. And this is, got some wire instructions and the email looks like this. What's your confidence level that those wire instructions are correct? Pretty good?
No. Not really.
Oh, that is the Gmail.
Yep.
Anybody, does that make anybody a little bit weary that it's from Gmail account? Would Bank of America use Gmail account? Okay, so let's just flip it a little bit. What about now? That's more like we would see. So we have to represent that we're a big successful business. And we have to do things just like big corporations would. Get it done the right way in the beginning so you don't try to change these things later will be an absolute nightmare. Because I talk with people all the time and they're like, well, I don't have money for that yet. I'll change it later. I'll do it later. Oh, I'll incorporate later. Yeah, once everything is up and running and trying to actually take properties and move it and this and that, it's a nightmare. So get it done the right way. This feels a little bit more comfortable. Get a domain name for your business. very inexpensive. Google, you can get an email for $5 a month, a professional business email. We gotta stop using Gmail accounts. Your clients will not know how to verbalize it, but there is a little bit of, hesitation in that, especially if I'm talking to Les and I'm like, hey, $200,000 you can pay cash for your house right now. And they're like, I can't afford a good email account. It's one of these things that nobody knows how to vocalize it, but they will notice it. Business license, that's the next thing we gotta have in line. So let's say that you're a licensed professional. Having an updated address that's with your license or with your location. Any massage therapists in the room? Okay, perfect. My wife was a massage therapist. We moved. She didn't update her license address. It was still her old address. That's a huge reason for denial right there. It's one of these things that things are not lining up. And when it goes through a computer and then running through a system, when things don't line up, they create denials because they're trying to mitigate the losses as much as possible. And when things don't line up, they just, no. And we'll just say it was lack of time in business. They won't say it was because your business license has the wrong address. Or you are required to have a certain license and you don't. That's another big one. Business bank accounts. Who has a business bank account? And if you have a business without a business bank account, you need to go get one. It's very important that you have a business bank account because lenders look at your banking history and many times they'll say that really you were still in startup mode because you didn't even have a business bank account. They look at the track record of your banking. They want to make sure that that's been taken care of, that you don't have insufficient fund fees. Your banking history, especially the last 2 years, is going to be one of the most powerful tools for lending. Positive bank balances, that's what we're looking for. If you're not making money, we got to start making some money.
So they wanna see transactions going in and out, cause I don't keep a lot of money in my account, cause I use this to pay down things. But the lenders wanna see money in, money out, money in, and see a balance and do that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly. That's it. All right, so, super bright. All right, so this is a little piggy bank. No.
What's the question?
So the question is, can I take my funds and put it into my business bank account? Yes, you can. That's funding your business. Make sure you have a good bookkeeper, accountant, if you do it, you're gonna keep track of that. But then what you were asking is, can I then take the funds from the business account to buy your groceries? Not unless those are business expense, because then it's getting into the whole world of commingling funds, which it just creates accounting nightmares. So yes, unless it's you can't really create baked. Well, you can't. Yeah, that's the hard part. So you got to start making some.
Well, you could fund your business through your personal, but the things that you buy out of that account should be business related items, signs, advertising, whatever. You
Right.
buy stuff out of there.
I'm gonna actually cover some of this in the last presentation tonight.
Yeah, that's really good too. Yeah, so there's a lot of ways to actually do that. Business bank account, we gotta have one, get it running, make sure your money's in there and used for business expenses. Powerful stuff. All right, we got a little test here. What do I have to give away? Do I have anything to give away? Drive maybe? Mints? All right,
What did
what
you do with the drives?
they're down in the back. Okay, so I'm gonna put a little problem up here. You gotta kind of figure it out, and the first person to figure out the problem or
I
the
got it.
answer, yeah, raise your hand is gonna be your buzzer, and then I'll call on you. So the first hand I see that's got the problem solved.
Don't say it out loud.
Yeah. Okay, or figures out what the situation is here. All right, ready, go. What is it? Mark? Mark. spots. Two spots, that's the problem. Is that what you guys got? Someone's like, you're like thinking some colors and numbers over here. That's what I'm thinking too, dude. Because my thing is, especially because I kind of framed it a certain way, depending on where you're at in that day, your mind can go in a million different directions and look for a million different things. All of us had different experiences, different mindsets this morning, and some of us are looking here, some of us are looking here, some of them may have even seen it before.
Hey, congratulations.
Yes. Oh! I'm just gonna pass it back. Wait, Mr. Smith, let's tell him what he just won.
A fob.
You won a little memory drive. I think it's a 4 gigabyte, but what's in there is like 10 ebooks on all different aspects of building business credit.
And business finance.
And business finance. So, congratulations. All right, so why is this important? Yes. Our mind also makes shortcuts, so most of us skipped over the second spot, or we didn't even think anything of it. Okay, so we have set up several businesses. We should know what we're looking for at this point. We just spent almost $5,000 on just the legal paperwork of this new business. And so we have a girl that, and we'll show you the system that we use. So our office girl, she builds business credit. That's her job. That's her primary job, is just to keep up with all the accounts and everything on all the companies. She's like, hey, you guys, how'd you do this? You just paid all this money. Now you gotta pay $125 to refile because your documents are wrong. Like, no way. What did Joseph do? How did we get this wrong? Our business address was wrong. It was wrong. And we both signed off on this. The first page of the Articles of Incorporation and the filing with the Secretary of State was wrong. What was wrong on it? It was road, not street.
It was street.
Street, not road. I can't even keep it straight. How am I supposed to catch it if I don't even know what it is? So, who's gonna catch that little mistake? Not even the bank's system. The bank system. For 2 years, I could not find one of my companies by searching my first name. It just wouldn't show up because there's an extra letter in my name. And I didn't notice it for 2 years on the actual registration with the Secretary of State. So you have to go through this with like a fine-tooth comb and know that you're going to be missing these things, and kind of go backwards through your addresses, backwards through your name. And by reading it backwards and looking for those, you're going to make sure that it's the right way. It's one of these really tedious things, but it has to be done because a computer won't miss it. It's very, very important that you do that. You got to review all of your documentation with all of, let's see, so we got business name, address, phone number, fax number. We didn't really dive into that, email address. But Secretary of State, IRS, licensing authorities, your bank, your website. That's another thing. If you have a website, it's not required, but make sure all your information's on there. Make sure your address is right. Make sure your phone number is right. Every place out there that has your business information needs to be the same across the board. There can't be any discrepancies there. The credit bureaus, we're going to dive into those in a minute, but 411.com and the 411 National Directory, that's all got to be the same. So if you're going through these and reviewing them, and all of a sudden, boom, that's a 15-yard penalty right there, loss of business credit. And they won't tell you that that's why it was. This is the #1 killer for the beginning vendors, is the 411 directory. Because nobody even thinks about it. I mean, seriously, did anybody ever dial 411, 20 years ago because you're too lazy to get the phone book out? And then your mom's gonna yell at you like a month later for charging 75 cents? Or is that just me? Okay, so it's important to be there.
Right there's a good spot.
Yes, we're gonna take a little break because we just covered the very first of 7 steps. It's just talking about the foundation of things we gotta go over. We're gonna take a little break here, let you guys stretch your legs, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about how you set up your reporting agencies for your business.
How long the break?
That's up to Richie.
10.
10 minutes. 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Hi, Sherry. Well, it's on this presentation. And we're gonna after lunch, we've got, right.
I wish mine was still that age.
So that people
You're just so cute.
I wish mine was still that age. Mine's at a talking time now. I can't bring her to anything. Talking the whole thing. Oh, shit. 8 months? 8 months? Mine's 21 months now. It's just every class in
And so what we did is, so today is general in scope. Tomorrow is when I'm going over, here's how you do it in like. Oh, you're in the line. Well, I mean, I just passed. So, yeah, we'll talk about that.
Balance award? No, I mean from the week. Yeah, it's in the week. Yeah. Oh, so little size. I gotta eat it.
No, it looks like.
I know. Yeah. One of my feet. Yes. So it's gonna get to 93, 94 or something. Yeah. Boring. Yeah.
You won't let her be a part of the community. She's begging to become a part of the community, but she says that you're insisting that she pay down her debt. No, he's looking out for you. I think that hopefully today is going to be good so far. Let's just say my goal is to try and not only blow you away, but everybody else does. I have about 10 hours worth of content. But because when you all the stuff that I have, yeah, we're going to get people all kind of options. Well, I This might sound weird because, obviously I'm a salesman and I sell stuff, but I don't let anybody buy anything from me until they fully know what it is. Even for just I'm gonna use it probably the rest of the day. I was up there sweating. It's like, oh my god. But I didn't realize when I came to here, I was like, oh, it was nice and I'm here. Yeah, let's go. You want to know something? You will not be disappointed. I don't want you to let not your heart be troubled, okay? Alright? Everything that you want, you'll get it. Sunday night.
Yeah, I have it.
So when did you get here? Where do you remember it starting? Right, so as time to get, you've got a domain and a business email. That will come out of your account when you need that. Do you need like what pay for that first get information actually made? It just depends. I mean, is there an ongoing bill that's coming up? Return bill for your yeah, I mean, anytime you can use it for bills and people. Yes. Yes.
You can show that there's transactions going on before you get
Really?
I would do that under my business credit card, have to make that one. Make a payment to their account.
So if you don't have a business credit card or something like that, you pay for stuff on it. You can, like, when you're in business startup mode, you can count those personal transactions for the business. You gotta talk to someone. But your goal should be to ship everything. Essentially, you just want the business to make cash. But it's not uncommon for people to have their personal finance.
I have a question for you. You did? Okay. So, you would work or we have a whole right? So that's always we have, because I have one, we have an operational grant, but that's kind of so the business that we have now, for operation, we used it for Amazon business. And we use it for real estate, just transactions and like I have taxes and things like that. So I do that. And then my sole proprietorship on myself, I'm trying to put it all under that operation. So I'm not paying so much tax, right? But, so the name that we call that business Amazon business is called Clutter. You don't look here, you don't look here, but it means stuff. Yeah, just stuff. It's a wine name, like stuff, right? Because we were selling stuff at Amazon. So I'm like, I wonder if that's a bad thing, but we use it for transactional things.
No, it's not a bad thing. Typically, you gotta stay away from business side.
Right, so I want it kind of broad.
Right, so it was like, you're on a retail spot.
Then it's blocked.
Yeah, you're looking into specific places. And so the more, right, so, scan, so that's why we're doing all this. The gatekeeper Well, I don't know how you get a sole proprietorship because sole proprietorship is just you. You are the business. So,
Oh yeah, if you haven't text credit to this number, if you want to be in the drawing on the downside, you gotta fill out the form.
if I set up an LLC,
Well, you're gonna get from me the building credit, but also
for a sole proprietorship,
be done at
how
the end
does
of the
somebody
day.
buy?
So what do they fix?
We should enter it though. At least enter it.
So yeah, you can sell business names, a business model, at some point,
We're getting ready
You may not get the response.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if I should put it right because I come in and just
Get a response? No.
this section of our
they all operate, you can still just do a Schedule C tax form for all of those. And not have to do a separate filing. So. Also, it says, I'm not an attorney, I'm not allowed to give you advice, there's a lot of different options. Consult with a legal professional.
yeah, but I need to figure out how to structure it and like what I have to do, what do I pay my bills for my.
Alright, anybody not get a text back from her?
I got a text back.
Who did not get a text back? Okay, so it just might be too many at one time. It might just take a minute.
It takes a little while.
Name, sure. Name, email, if you want to get entered.
So that was about
If you did not, did not.
okay, large
Yeah. But if you want to write your first What service do you have?
So our business
That's weird. T-Mobile doesn't like us.
Keep showing dedication. It's our marketing system. We do our real estate. So
That's weird. Okay, so now that solves the problem. That for some reason we gotta figure out what.
well, actually,
Did you fill it out? Okay, you're fine. If you
yeah, and it's something that it feels better to feel like, you know what, it's your responsibility.
didn't, back. You just want to put your name and your email on there.
All right, we back.
there you go.
Maybe just ask T-Mobile. So that's what it is. You do Maybe who's T-Mobile? Yes.
Never. Hi. Come here, not working. You're not working today.
No, I swapped days.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I'm supposed to work tomorrow. So come visit me.
I know, I have to get my ring.
Yes. Well,
I always freak out when I go surfing with them, like, all the time still there.
But it's just too strong. It's great. No, but what if it falls off your finger? Oh, okay. That's it. You're smart.
It falls off and it vibrates.
I know, I was like.
I told her, here, and texted it, and I got to in a while. Everything that I do, like, actually, I do think that.
Well, they're for everybody, we're trying to make sure that everybody's listening on. We also want people to get that.
I think we might need graphic line. It's different.
Like on Google, like.
Is anybody?
It's just. All right. For the name. All right, everybody. Ready to get this party back?
How do you know if you got it?
How do you know if you got the text?
How do you know whether
Oh, I got this cool little CRM though.
it's just like by our phone number? Because that's all you're getting from us, right?
Pretty much. Well, that actually goes through an outside web.
They have an office.
Yeah,
But when you register on the site for
Moby system, Texas. But it's interesting. For some reason, it wasn't coming through on T-Mobile, which let them know if they can get that fixed. On Sprint too. Sure. All right. Anybody? Yeah. If anybody else has them, you just can turn them in at the back table. All right. All right. So here we are. We were just talking about the foundational aspects of building a credible business profile. That's it. I mean, all these little things, the name, the phone number, these are just so you look legitimate. Think about Walmart. It's a huge, big, powerful company. Just do what Walmart does. Add an 800 number. Sometimes, many of these places, if you're getting a local number with them, you can get an 800 number added onto it. You're like, 800 number, I just barely making any money in my little marketing business. But think about the perceived value of that. When was the last time you did business with a big, legitimate business that did not have an 800 number? You may have never even thought about getting yourself one. It's pretty cool to do it. All right, let's talk about the business credit reports. Dun & Bradstreet, the big dog in the business credit world. Who has not heard of Dun & Bradstreet? All right, so they are the largest data collector in the realm of business credit. They have accounts on businesses all over the world. Now, the way that they differentiate those businesses is through what's called a DUNS number. So, Dun & Bradstreet, they issue you what's called a DUNS number. This is a unique identifier for Dun & Bradstreet in your business. What also happens is they score you, when you actually have a report up and running, they score you on a 0 to 100 scale. It's called the Paydex. So with Dun & Bradstreet, and you actually have an account in 3 trade lines, vendor accounts reporting, you would start to generate a score with them. Now, this is strictly based on payment history. This scoring right here is just payment history. Just payments. I don't know if I need to say that another time. Just payment history. All you have to do to optimize your Dun's Paydex score is pay your bills. Actually, pay your bills early. That is all you have to do to achieve an excellent rating with Dun & Bradstreet. So, expect payment may come early. If they think that you're going to always be paying them early, which you should, you're going to reach a perfect score. Payment is always prompt. That means you've never had a late payment. It will be easy for you to achieve an 80 Paydex. That means you've always paid your bills on time. Now, this starts to fall. So 70 is when you're 14 days late, 60 is 21 days late, 30 days late, down in the 50s. 40s, 30s, 20s, all the way down to 120 days late and beyond. Has anybody ever, okay, so let's transition back to personal credit. If you have a credit card, let's just say it wasn't on automatic payments, it got misplaced, life happened, it was on the counter, but now it's not there, it skipped your mind, and you missed a payment. You're a couple days late, maybe you're a week late, you're 2 weeks late, they gave you a call because you're 2 weeks late. Anybody ever been there? I've been there. It happens, life happens. I mean, sometimes you have multiple payments, how do we keep track of all these things? On your personal side, if you're 3 weeks late making that payment, did they charge you a fee? Yeah. Did they mark your credit after only 3 weeks? Did they mark your credit yet? Usually, how long do you usually have to be late on that payment? 30 days. Once you're 30 days late, now maybe you're 5 days late or whatever, you know, like on mortgages sometimes it could be 15 or 17 days after it was due that they'll tack on a late fee. And then once the new billing cycle comes out, if you don't have it in by the 1st, they're going to mark your credit 30 days late. It's a little bit different when we're working with brand new vendor accounts and trade lines, especially what's called net 30 accounts. That's a little bit different, and we're going to dive into that in a second. But it's important to understand that you have to go to Dun & Bradstreet first. Get it established. You got to get a DUNS number with them to truly start building business credit, because they control a lot of the reporting. Now, there's also Equifax Small Business and Business Experience. Those, they have some up-and-coming reporting aspects to their personal credit report. They are nowhere as, I guess, data heavy as Dun & Bradstreet. It is a lot easier to get these set up. Dun & Bradstreet, you actually have to talk with them on the phone. You have to go through a process with them. They're going to ask you several questions, and this is a problem. Because, why would that be a problem? Yes, you don't know what they're looking for. They're data collection, and they want to know everything. But what happens if you're not in, if you say, how do I want to phrase this? There are things Dun & Bradstreet will find out and want to know because they want to build a complete profile on you. If certain things are overlooked, or let's say that you have, you just divulge all your information, but you're just a brand new company and there's a lot of things that you don't have because you're just starting out. When that goes into your profile and a lender will pull your profile information, it will show that you're kind of an unestablished entity. So they won't lend to you because they don't see how you're ever going to pay them back. That can create some problems. So you got to know what you're getting yourself into with Dun & Bradstreet. They're also very good at offering their services. They know they run the show. Anybody ever, who has a DUNS number? Okay, you guys look pretty intelligent. You might have gotten through without spending any money with them. Did you get your free DUNS number, or did you actually spend a little money with them?
Free.
Okay, perfect. So it's free. But are they going to offer you their services? Are they going to tell you that your profile's incomplete? Are they going to tell you different things? Are they going to follow up with you? Are they going to talk about adding trade lines and all these other great things to your account?
Who owns Dun and Bradstreet?
That's a great question. There you go. It's a hierarchy of executives. There's board of directors. I don't think it's just one. That's a great question. I don't even know if I know. I know a few names that are on the.
What is Dun and Bradstreet's actual business?
Data collection.
And how do they get money?
Selling services.
Yes. Data is big business. That's what everything.
Negative data is even bigger business.
Walmart. Yeah, they'll sell everything.
Just like Equifax, TransUnion, and
Yep, they sell it all. Because would somebody pay to make sure that they don't lose money with you? All day, every day. Walmart, big. With how many employees do they have? Like 1.5 million? 1.5 million employees, over 60,000 vendor accounts. So these are all those products in the store, did they buy that? No, every single thing is on some type of line of credit. I mean, you can't fill that much product and outlay that much cash. It just doesn't work that way. Even your local Walmart is gonna have anywhere from 1,000 to 5,000 local vendor accounts. So I mean, you're gonna have things here that we will never even see anywhere on the mainland. It's just the way it is. So let's take a look at Experian. Experian also pulls a lot of information from Dun & Bradstreet as well. You know, they're really working on trying to really catch up. But you can actually go and check any business's credit profile at any time if you're wanting to pay for it. So, let's see, what is it? Sharina. So, Sharina, I mean, what if I went and checked your personal credit reports without you knowing? Is that a problem? All of a sudden you have an inquiry on your credit and it came from me and you didn't know that I was doing that. Is that a problem? You didn't authorize me to do that. Huge problem. That's federal offense. I mean, that's prison time. If I'm pulling people's credit without them knowing, big problem. You can go do it for businesses though. Yeah, that's a great thing. You can go check any business you want. You can go check. You can get the full report. I mean, this is hundreds of pages long, their full report. But you could go pay for that. It's like $165 or so. But it'll tell you where they are, where they're located, tell you how many trade lines they have reporting. This could be vendor accounts, business to business, it could be financial accounts, credit lines. Do they have a credit score? We'll let you know that. Profile. Do they have a profile? Yes. That's one of your things. Do you have a Dun & Bradstreet profile yet? If you've been in business for a long time, you may have something out there that you don't even realize that you set up. So, most likely you don't, but it's something to check into. Just go to dmd.com and get looking into that process. But how many trade lines do you think Dun & Bradstreet has reported? Walmart has reporting on their Experian credit. So out of like 60 plus thousand, how many would you say show up? We got one. Well, it's a question mark. Let's guess the numbers. I mean, all of them?
Hey, we're the wise guys, not you. You're not the wise guys.
What? 40,000. Did I hear 50?
10,000.
10,000. 500.
6,000.
Yeah, maybe you should specify what a trade line is.
So this could be any type of business-to-business credit account, financial account. This could be a credit line. It could be.
Yeah, they're offering other people.
No, they have.
With other
So
people.
this could be, a supplier.
I would say 60,000.
No, they'll have
They
hundreds
buy
of
things
thousands.
from other people.
Right. So imagine like if you had 100 credit cards on your personal side, how many of those credit cards are going to be reported? Okay. So they're like, Paul, you get a gold star. 513. Paul said 500. That's the big problem. It is a lot more work to report than it is to. It's a lot more work to report positively than it is to report negatively.
Some people don't do it.
Lots of businesses don't report the positive because it takes extra manpower, and sometimes there's expenses that go along with that. Many times on Dun & Bradstreet, you have to have, just to report 300 active credit accounts, you need to be integrated with QuickBooks, you need to have that monitored, and also be part of one of Dun & Bradstreet's programs, which the cheapest one to even be reporting is $2,000 a year. And then you're gonna have to have staff to help with that. Who wants to do that? Most of us are just trying to grow our businesses. Most of us are like these. Okay, so this couple is in Tucson. They build cooler pads. Okay, anybody do you have evaporative coolers out here? Probably not. It only works where it's really dry. Basically, there's big boxes on the roof that have like wood pads, like they're wood shavings. And basically, inside there's a fan and a pump. It pumps water over the wood, like the wood shavings, and it sucks in air and blows it through the house. We call them swamp coolers because all it does is pump a lot of humidity through the house. But when it's really dry, it works like an AC and it will cool the house, 20 degrees, easy. But once it becomes humid, they don't work anymore. We use them in the desert. So that's why you don't have them out here. That's when I was talking about working on the cooler out in the heat. That's what I was working on. So we go here, and a lot of houses have these coolers in Arizona. You go there. Hey, I'm gonna go out and do these jobs this day. Shake on the hand. I'll be back to pay you once I get paid. That's what the basis of credit is. It is having a relationship with a business. Would they ever, if I screwed them over, who's gonna find out? All the other guys that go through there. Word of mouth, especially negative activity, goes really fast. If somebody in this room were to screw somebody else over on a real estate transaction, would you guys know within like a day? Yeah, you would know. Real estate is a relationship business. Credit is a relationship business. You will get money if you have treated banks, other businesses, and their friends the right way. So, Dima, so let's say, we met for the first time last night, right? Or did we? We might have met some other time, in person. Okay, you're right, in person. Okay, so say I just came up to you on the street and I was like, hey, can I borrow $100? No. Come on, man, I'm good for it. But, okay, so you don't know though. You don't know if I'm good for it though. But then Richie is like, hey, Ray paid me back, $110 the next day. That's 10% for 1 day use. And then Sherry is like, yeah, Ray paid me back. And then Judy's like, yeah, Ray paid me back. Can I have $100 now? Right. Okay, let's say I don't have Richie's, but I had, I had Les's, and I had, what was your name? Bree? Okay, and like Bree, maybe you don't even know Bree, but then like Bree's like, yeah, but you have people that are like in your, in the area that are saying that I'm good for it. You still feel pretty good about giving me $100? They're part of the scheme. Okay, then I gotta get Richie involved, but he can be, he's running the whole scheme. Okay, so $100, are we good? Sure, okay. 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 But the thing is, it's once all those people around and in that circle of influence feel comfortable, that's all credit is. And then, if everybody in this room I borrowed $100 from, then I could talk to you and say they're only paying 10%, but for 3 months. Because it's a safer, less risky bet. And then that's exactly what correlates to interest rate, your risk. The riskier you are, the more you're gonna pay. The more things you have wrong, you're using Gmail accounts, your interest rates go up. You don't have a proper business address, your interest rates are gonna go up. The risk is directly correlated to how much they're going to charge you. If you're safer, it's a lot less. All right, so we're gonna go through 4 rounds of funding. This is how you're gonna get these accounts set up. Now, what are we actually talking about here? We're talking about how to get your business in a lendable position, into a credible position where they feel comfortable giving you money, without using your social security number. That's the power. Because a substantial amount of businesses use their social security number to get funds. It does not have to be that way. Now, at the end of the game, when you really want to get like some massive amounts, you're going to have to use your credit. But what happens if your credit's not in the best position right now? And you're working on repairing it. Because that's a whole other thing Arnaz helps you with, is repairing your personal credit. So if you're in that process, but you want to start a business, you want to go get a Home Depot card, can you do it with that credit? Can you do it if you have multiple businesses? What happens if you have a self-directed IRA involved in the situation and they can't personally guarantee you that debt? Or well, actually, self-directed retirement LLCs. And if that's partnered with something else, and let's just say I have a company with multiple partners, should I be on the hook for all that debt? How do we do that without using our social security numbers? All right, so we go through 4 rounds of funding. That is the powerful aspect of what we're doing. The first is vendor credits. So vendor credits, that is a problem because these are going to be very short-term lines of credit. Usually in what's called a net 30. We'll talk a little bit more about those in a second, but this is the big problem that 97% of these beginner accounts that are willing to take a gamble and a bet on you don't report. So, okay. All right, so one thing is a net 30. Who knows what net 30 is? Yes. So, you would send me $100 line of credit for your product or your service on a net 30 term. That means that I could go to, what was it again? Arlene. Okay, Arlene. It's okay, we're throwing so much at Arlene, she forgot her name. It's okay. Okay, so I go to Arlene, she sends me a $100 line of credit on net 30 terms. That means as soon as I would place an order, she invoices me. I have 30 days to make sure she's paid back. Do I want to pay her on day 30? No. Why? What could happen?
Because you could miss the payment, or it's a mail, or anything, maybe over.
That's right. Anybody ever submit a payment that says can take, 1 to 2 days to process and actually show up? Their system everybody's system is unique. And that's the problem. You put a payment through, it could process the next day and register late. And what happens in certain cases, especially these beginner accounts, if you're 1 day,
Now and now.
you don't have the 30-day grace period like we do on our personal credit, and this causes problems because many people associate these beginner accounts and these net 30 accounts with our personal account. And they're like, oh, well, I still have a little grace period. I got 10 days to make that. No. If you are day 31 and it's not registered in their system, Demon, we met on the street. It was the first relationship. These are the first relationships you're gonna have. What happens if I told him I'm paying him in 30 days and day 31 shows up? Who's he telling? He's telling everybody because he doesn't know who else I'm going to source funds from. He wants to stop it right there because he doesn't know if he's ever gonna get paid. So they can mark you late 1 day in this situation. So don't do it. You've been there. And it's a problem. It is a problem. And it happens. And so that's why we're saying, hey, we're not paying on time anymore. You're actually paying early. Ideally, on the net 30 is 22 days. 22 days. But it depends on who that account is with. Certain people certain companies don't like that you pay in the same calendar month. So it gets a little tricky if you're purchasing things on the 1st. And they don't like to report if the payment has been made in the 1st month. If you pay it too quick, it may not register as a net 30 account. Remember, these things cost them money. Also, how much are you actually purchasing from them? Each individual business has requirements. So, are they requiring you to make a $50 purchase? Seems like a lot of ones at least have a $50 purchase that's required. Some have $100, some have $200. It depends on who you're going to, because none of this is really regulated. It is up to the business on how they want to do this. It is up to them if they want to, okay, it's going to cost us money. We require at least $75 purchase for us to report, because that's what makes sense. And there is a company that reports, and it's called Quill. They are notorious for splitting up invoices. Now, I don't know how it is out here. I don't know how it is on the shipping aspect of it, if they want to do that or not, because it just ends up, they'll probably be okay. They'll probably want to ship it all to one day. But they're notorious for breaking up invoices. They will, you have a $100 order, they will split it up into 3 orders so they don't have to report. Because then they look at each invoice. $40 invoice, $40 invoice, $20 invoice. That happens. That's something else you gotta be weary of, because you may make a $100 purchase. I got this in the bag. I didn't just do $50, I did $100. They split up your invoice. 3 months later, you're wondering why it still hasn't shown up on your report. That's a problem. You just wasted 3 months. No, you gotta use Quill. The other thing that Quill likes to do is they want you to season your account for 90 days most of the time. So they won't even start reporting until your account's 90 days. And that's the crazy thing, that's just one company. But what did we have to do to figure out all that? I mean, that's a lot of data and research and timing and figuring it out. What are these underwriting guidelines? Would that be beneficial for you if you knew what to do with each account and how to actually do it so it actually reports? You make the purchase and not have to wonder in 3 months why it did not ever show up. So this is the trouble. Only 3% of those companies out there are actually reporting. So you're gonna go out there, see what's cool is Renatus, it teaches a class called Business Credit. It's always changing. And there's accounts are in flux. You know, a year from now, a third of those accounts may have fallen off. They may have changed their underwriting guidelines. It changes. Businesses change. They go through seasons. They may stop reporting. That's a problem. So that's something else that we'll dive into more later, how you can stay on top of having these underwriting guidelines to make sure you're building your business credit the right way. So that's just the first step. Got to get these beginner net 30 accounts, order some products, some office supplies, some shipping materials, some cleaning stuff. You can get Home Depot cards in the very first beginning account. See approvals anywhere from $400 to $1,800 for Home Depot. And that's on a net 30 term. And that's without using your social. It's just if your business lines up the right way, that looks good, boom, here's a little credit line. Very off right off that. That can come in handy. We had a condo that we were in that situation and we're like, what are we gonna do? We're kind of like strapped for cash because we had 2 projects running and we're like, we don't wanna pull any equity out of these. Well, we gotta put some appliances in so this can close. Boom, go get it, get the account, put the appliances in, close, pay it back. Now, yes?
Quick question. If you did set up an account and they asked for your social security to kind of back it, are you stuck in that relationship thing?
Thank you. Thank you.
Good answer.
Are they going to be asking for your social security number?
Oh, why? Gonna try again.
Yes, they will be. There's multiple reasons why, especially when we move into round 2. We're talking about 4 rounds. The first is the beginner vendor accounts. Now we're moving into store accounts, where it's kind of in-house credit accounts. They will be asking for your credit or your social security number. There's 2 major reasons why. Patriot Act and personally guaranteeing. You have to be careful because they can combine the two together. They need to verify your identity. They need to know who you actually are. There's several ways to do that, but the easiest way for them to do that is to ask for your social security number. That is the easiest way, and they'll put on there, due to the Patriot Act, we need to verify, especially at Home Depot, because they want to know, they need to make sure that these things are not used to fuel terrorism. Quote, unquote. Like I said, conspiracy theories, that's another class for another day. But no, it is. Let's be honest, I mean.
They want to fight terrorists drywall over here.
That is, that's just craziness. We were at Lowe's yesterday, and I feel so grateful for how things are so cheap. I will not take my drywall for granted anymore. My concrete for granted. Because I'm like, got a little bit in the bag, throw it away. Like, seriously, I'd be licking your bag this week because it's so expensive. So Richie bought like the self-leveling thing for,
Concrete.
self-leveling concrete for their rehab that's going on, and so that was cool. I'm like, oh, I get to go to Hawaii and I get to like see Lowe's, and I spend half of my life at Home Depot anyway. And then we get to go see this rehab project. I just, if you can't tell, that's what I eat, breathe, and sleep, dust. It was like, how much, $36? $36 for this bag that I can get for $6. It just blew my mind. How do you do this stuff here? Very carefully. It's good to know that have a knowledgeable expert, because if you guys can make it work out, you can make it work anywhere. But it's also very easy out here to totally screw it up, totally screw up your numbers. Does anybody know anybody that's that happened to?
What's that?
I'm sure it happens, and I know it happens because it happens everywhere. So keep plugging in, get with this group. They're gonna help you get the right stuff done. So let's move into store credit. Amazon, Best Buy, Walmart, Staples. Are there things that you can find for your business here? Yes, there are. Now, one of these does not report. You're like, whoa, which one does not report? Which one?
Best Buy.
Best Buy. Best Buy does not report. But they sell appliances, computers, cameras. Best Buy is awesome. There's always something you can get at Best Buy, and it's a great account to have. It can be useful for your business.
Do they check your business credit though?
Yes, they do. They will be checking your business credit report, and even though they don't report on the business side, they're going to want your personal credit. It's guaranteed. Now, in order to apply, there's strategic ways to apply. Many times, it's an online form. Many times, the online form will not allow you to submit the application if you have not filled out that area. Do not submit a form that is not your social security number. Do not put anything else in that. If you cannot submit it online, then there's another way you're going to have to apply. You might have to have that they might have to email and you fax it back. It depends on the company. It is a federal offense to submit an application with a number that is not your social security number, so do not do it. And I told you not to do that. Do not do it. Yes, but you can leave it blank and submit it that way, forcing them to pull your EIN number. So there's little strategies and tips to each situation. After we get through this, so let's talk about how many we actually need. One second, I'll get to it. On the beginner, we want to see, 4 to 6 accounts. Let's really, if you get some 4 to 6 accounts in the beginning, and then in this stage, we want to get 4 to 6 accounts that are actually reported. Yes, sir.
On the business side, are we talking lines of credit, credit cards? It doesn't matter when you're talking to business.
So these are kind of beginner lines of credit, So it's like a short-term line of credit. Most of the time, like net 30 accounts are no interest. Sometimes they actually give you a discount if you pay like in the first 5 or 10 days. So you'll see like net, yeah. But that's what we're talking about. We're talking about beginner vendor account that is going to build. So we got to start with these little relationships at $100, at $500, and then start growing it. When you get a Home Depot card in the beginning, and then we want to come back after we've established more credit and want to get like a revolving line with Home Depot, they're going to look at how we performed in the beginning, that we took care of them the right way. Because remember, what we're doing here is not incorporating a personal guarantee. So it's a building process, it's building those relationships. It's going to Dimon and getting $100, but in the beginning, he didn't know anybody, so he only gave me $100, or he gave me $10. And then now I'm coming back with 14 friends, and now he's talking, hey, I got $1,000 I need to figure out something to do with. Then you're like, hey, Ray paid everybody back. Now I got 20 grand I gotta do something with. Now, because that's where we build. So we go through this process of getting these accounts reported. Now it can take anywhere from 30 to 90 days for accounts to report. And that's the other thing. Each account is different. Some report quarterly, some report monthly. Yes?
So are you saying we need to open up 4 vendor?
I recommend 6. Yeah, 4 to 6. 4 to 6 you want actually reported. And then 4 to 6 on here. And then we'll move into fleet credit. That's a great question. And we'll dive into that a little bit more because certain accounts are related to other accounts, especially in fleet credit. So there's a company called WEX. WEX provides a lot of different gas cards. You can't apply to WEX too quickly. So even though you're going to one gas station, Aloha gas station, you can get an account with them. And then, so there's all sorts of aspects of that are a little bit tricky, but also in fleet credit you can get maintenance for your vehicles. Also look into vehicle financing. So that's another aspect. So start to build the process of a track record of getting enough reporting where you can start to get vehicle financing with just using the power of the business. Well, so that's like the processor, and then but it goes by many different names depending on like whichever, whoever.
And then you're just talking about lines of credit, not actual credit cards for those other companies, or you're talking about credit cards in your business name with the
These are in-house lines of credit that report. Because then after we establish lines of fleet credit, which is round 3, then we move into round 4. This is where the cash credit comes into place. This is where we have American Expresses, MasterCards, Visas for the business that are reporting just on the business side. Now there's 2 different ways to do this. You can actually fuel it with a good personal credit score, which we'll talk a little bit about later. But you can also go back to the companies that you already established at this point. Amazon. And for example, Amazon taking their store card that you had and having them slap a Visa logo on there, which is a view of the account. Say they gave you $7,000 on a line of credit. At this point, when there's 14 accounts on your credit report, now we can have them create an unsecured line of credit, revolving a credit account that can be used anywhere. That's where we want to get to. This is the goal, is getting to this point. Getting to the point where we can start to convert our store cards into revolving credit cards and being able to go out there and start to get approvals instantly for business, Visas, and American Express. Now there's all sorts of different cards out there. So which ones do you apply for? Because some require your social, some don't require your social, some report on both your personal and your business credit, some report only on the business. That's where we help you out. We help you out go through that process. Now, so this is where we all want to get, because then once you're at that point, you have a good established business credit track record. The lendability is just, that's when we start working with people for the next 5 years to actually get all the lending in place, the loans. This is a crucial aspect to what we're doing. You have to get to this point. Now, talk a little bit about Phyllis and Thelma Sample. They're out of LaPorte, Texas. They have a company called Success Tax Relief. They help businesses build business credit to help offset tax liabilities, paying down tax debt. It's pretty powerful stuff. So they went to, this is their testimony, and you can find this on our website and, see video testimony as well. They went to business or they went to their bank to get a business line of credit, and they turned them down. They got started with the financial advisors along with business credit builder program to set up their business credibility and build their business credit. After following these steps, they've now secured over $96,000 in business credit cards and just applied for the Platinum American Express card, got approved instantly with no limit. Anything pretty much under $150,000 is going to be instant, either denial or approval. Now we have 4 to 5 different companies calling us each and every day trying to get their money, and that's a good problem to have. Anybody like ever want to invest into a company that's going down? What about if a company's really thriving? Do you want to get on board with that? That's how it is with financial institutions. When you really need money, do they give it to you? But what about when you don't need money? Is it seen always be available? It does. It's one of those things. When you need it, it's not there. So let me tell you a little bit. Let's go back here. Okay. Nice transition, Joseph. I like it. All right, I want to talk about Christine. Okay, Christine, she runs a transportation trucking business. That's really powerful stuff. So as she started this process, these are the lines of credit that she was able to establish. So Sprint, Amazon, Tractor Supply, 5,000, Exxon, Fuelman, Fleet, BJ's, BP, Lowe's. So you'll see a lot of gas cards and Lowe's. And you'll see as they start to stack up. A lot of times what they're doing is they're looking at what the approvals were before and building on top of that. Once a business, it's different from personal. When a business is doing good, they want to give you more money. That's the way it is. Shell, Murphy, and especially in this situation, like with gas, Shell wants to beat out BP. They want to be the main card that's being used. Office Depot, Sears, Costco, Best Buy, and you can see as they start to keep growing and growing. Pilot Flying J. So, yeah, if you have a trucking company and having the ability to have your truck service, maintenance, and everything like that, $50,000 line of credit can keep your trucks running. Roofs Plus, if you're building, Ford, getting some new trucks. RTS is actually like a loan company, and all approvers require no consumer credit check or personal guarantee for all of those approvals. That's powerful stuff. So here's her Equifax business credit report, and she has achieved 100 on there. That is insane. It's perfect. I mean, so what's your confidence going into a bank with an 850 credit score? You just know you're going to get approved. So there we go. She is getting approvals that she didn't even realize. $15,000 card. She said, check your junk mail. Got approved for this and didn't even realize it. $15,000 line of credit. And it's just card after card, because once she reached a pivotal point, now she's been doing this for a little while. She's been doing this for a few years. But it just takes time. Once you start building that momentum, it starts rolling. And then she got a, I'm just gonna keep moving because we gotta save time. But Marlon McKinney, he's amazing. He has over $1 million in lines of credit, strictly without personal credit guarantees. OBGYN. So this is Dr. Brandon. He originally, so when he came, he was in a monstrous amount of tax debt. Building business credit was able to offset that tax debt, and so he could keep running his practice basically. And was able to expand. To date, he secured over $1.5 million in funding through unsecured financing, revenue loans, and private investment. Powerful stuff. It's ways to fuel your business. All right. So you might be asking yourself, will this work for you? Yes. Yes, it will. It's a process. It takes time. It's not something that's going to be done tomorrow, but it can be done if you start now. Abigail, JCPenney, things like that. Uline. As we start clicking through there, Shauna, she is on to another net 30 with Office Depot, $2,000 at ExxonMobil, $17,000 line of credit with no personal guarantee at Amazon. That's crazy. It's crazy to think that, I couldn't even get a $1,000 credit card at Amazon with good credit. And then it's like business though, it seems like they give you 5 to 100 times more because you're a business, not an individual. These are, so when you start getting approvals, please share your success. Let other business owners know that there's options out there. $4,000 here, $50,000 from Pilot Flying J. We have, Pool.com here. Christmas came early. A net 55 for $4,000 at Amazon. I mean, is there something you can find for your business at Amazon? Amazon has everything. And you guys, I heard you still get pretty good shipping terms out here from Amazon, right? It's like 3 or 4 days or something. No personal guarantee, $3,000 gas card, $9,000 American Express with no personal guarantee, $20,000 American Express with no personal guarantee. I couldn't even get an American Express Playbook credit. They kind of play by their own rules. And would you be surprised? They play by their own rules. American Express also doesn't report in most cases. Positive. They'll report negative for sure. Approved for $50,000 line of credit. Oh man, so just remember to share your success as you start getting your approvals. Markets, fleet cards. Oh man, what else do we got here? Third fleet card here, gas cards, JCPenney's. We got Lowe's cards, $4,000. Can that help on your rehabs? For sure. Happy Dance, Dell, we need some computers, Staples, 17, let's see, what was that match? There are pro purchase cards, those are awesome. So many, I mean, it's about that time when everybody get hungry too. They don't bet up when you can chew. If you get a $17,000 gas card, you gotta make sure that you can pay that. You don't go spend a whole bunch. Many of these accounts require just one purchase in a 12-month period to keep that account active. Some require monthly reporting. Everybody's just different. So this is something that we're going to do later. Yeah.
Let's go to lunch.
Yeah. This is a great place to stop in the training. We're going to take a break for lunch. 1 hour. So right now, it is now, Richie, where do we have for lunch?
Everywhere.
The mall.
The mall? Okay. Okay, so we got the mall over there. It's 5 after 12. So everybody be back here as close to 1 o'clock as possible. Sound good?
Good.
All right, awesome. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'll be here. Yeah. Well, boys. Yeah, I Yeah, so we've been through this process. We started with the and then when at this point we're at I'll figure it out. I'm gonna grab those stuff. We're in almost round 3. And yes, I didn't know about a lot of credit 602 so they found
I'll just write it up.
one of them is a Omaha gas station. That's awesome. Because we didn't have that in the education. So you gotta find those like those niche trade lines that you'll be using anyway. You might ask for a car, right? So you get a lot of business credit. And then no, that's a that report. So that's one trade line out of the million that you're gonna need credit. That's how it's controlled. So aside from the will line, you're gonna go through all of those. 497. We're gonna show you exactly round by round what lines of credit to start with. 5 Then go to the next one, then go to the next one, next one. That's where you're gonna be able to get the awesome, amazing.
Who's your carrier?
Home Depot. No. The Sam's Club. Business Master.
You're not in that, so go ahead and get it.
That's the one. That's the one that you want to get. That's the one that would put that like all these areas in terms of, and you can fight.
And then,
so say
get the
at that point, when you get
download the
round
guide.
4, and you apply for that, your business
And
is
it
doing well,
requires you
you
to
can
enter
actually
information, and then that's what puts you in
hundreds
the
of
draw.
thousands of dollars at 0% interest on a MasterCard. So you can use it anywhere. It's ridiculous. So that's where you want to get to.
That's why I was like, oh, properties are.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do. And so I was like, PTSD's already built that plan.
Mhm.
I was like, I want to put it into.
Yeah. If you have the LLC set up, it's going to be building. It's going to have the foundation. Then you got to have that business getting the trade lines to report. Alright, go get There's a Costco card left, the Santa Claus one.
I got through like Marco,
Right. No. So they got everyone 12. So they're like super nervous. The first time ever. It's in the class, not following the process. A lot of them are following it. Not putting too much effort into it. Change that one time. Because if person comes at 4 o'clock and you're not done yet, and you're still in there, that's probably right. Maybe.
It's really interesting, like, why won't you do military stuff? This would knock out so much. It makes my last day, regardless you're gonna get paid. Like, even if the government shuts down, like, I will have to take out a student loan, and then you're gonna get paid. Like, you know, it's ridiculous.
I gotta reorganize what we're gonna work on so that we can,
Daryl, this is Joseph. Ray.
Sarah, nice to meet you.
My first time.
Good, we basically came here with about 10 or 12 hours of content, and we're trying to shove it into 6 hours.
Yeah.
So we have to figure out, well, we want to talk about business, it's gonna have to, some things are gonna have to be cut out. Okay, go ahead. Thanks, Daryl, for progressing. You can see everything. Happy? Thanks, Daryl. Thank you. Worked on it here because the music I think is tied into the computer. It could be mistaken. Okay. It is tied in.
Yeah, it is.
It is, oh, it's just Bluetooth, yeah. I think you're doing a great job. I think everybody's having a great. There's none.
Right, yeah.
It's just unfortunate that.
I was getting, there's probably about, easily 20 minutes I got me on my questions. We're just gonna have to push through the questions. All right, so.
I don't really think you made any mistakes. For me, I'm not like on your case for anything. I'm just like, how did you get everything in? That's all. That's where I'm at. So please don't take anything. I mean, I think you're doing an amazing job.
You're handling this pretty well. Considering, it's like, okay, so. How am I doing even up here though?
Well, I think.
Does my energy need to be louder?
So my only criticism of you, and it's a serious criticism, is you're throwing out names of starter vendors. Like never.
Oh, we always talk about like Quill.
No. You've talked about Warrenville. You talked about Wex. You talked about you named.
Well, Wex is, I'm guessing not. We show Wex on the screen.
We don't mention the names of our, because then you got people sitting here trying to write these down and people people are doing things. So we just don't give people the starter menu. I mean, everybody was trying, that's what actually, it's like, we don't wanna give away that stuff. That's probably the only technical criticism that I had. I mean, we usually just try to talk.
Yeah, I've never really mentioned UX before.
You mentioned another starter vendor other than Quill or Uline.
Home Depot.
Yes, yeah, that's the other one you mentioned. Is we mentioned that, you know, there are starter vendors that can help you get a Home Depot card. But anyway, whatever, it happened, it is what it is. So,
Well, I mean, if somebody goes to Home Depot though, they won't be able to just get it.
but I think that needs to be told, because as people are writing these down, they're gonna go and try to implement that, and then they're gonna feel like you're a fraud or a charlatan because they couldn't get it.
I felt like I did a fairly good job talking about like.
No, they might not think that. I'm just thinking that that's my worry or my fear is that they could possibly. I'm not saying that they will or that would happen. Sorry. I want to be clear on that.
We're still live on YouTube.
Awesome. I think you're doing a great job.
Right.